Now I do.
Thank you.
Do you want me to start with the spiel?
I'll go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and welcome everybody.
Okay.
First of all, welcome everybody to the January 13th meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals. My name is Jeff Carson. I'm serving as chair of tonight's meeting. We're going to make a couple of introductions before we get started. First off, we have Gunnar Hand, the Director of Planning and Urban Design, with us this evening, along with Byron Toy with the Planning and Urban Design staff. We also have Janet Parker with us for just a few more hours after 50 years of service to the unified government. She's currently the Executive Assistant at the Department of Planning and Urban Design. We have Rose Morris, who I don't know her exact title, but right now I'm calling her the assistant to the executive assistant of the Department of Planning and Urban Design. We have Michael Farley with Unified Government Legal Counsel with us tonight. Just joining us is Vice Chair Karen Jones, and we have the following commission members present this evening. Here in the chambers with Karen and I is Dwayne Beth. Online, we have Commissioner James Ernst, Commissioner Brandy Armstrong, Commissioner Joseph Strauss, and Commissioner Mary Beth Schwartz. Did I leave anybody out? Okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Rose Morris, who'll read the opening statement on how we'll run tonight's meeting.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Zoning Appeals. The members of the Board of Zoning Appeals are participating remotely via Zoom or present in the commission chamber, and Jeff Carson is serving as chair of this meeting. These are the instructions for the meeting. If you're joining by Zoom video, please make sure that you have an appropriate background. Board members that are participating by Zoom, please use the raise your hand feature when you want to speak. And after Chairman Carson recognizes you, please unmute your microphone and state your name when you begin to speak. If you are in the commission chamber, please state your name before speaking once the chairman recognizes you. For those members of the public attending the meeting virtually this evening, please use the raise your hand feature if you want to speak on an application. If you are present in the commission chamber, please come to the microphone at the front of the room when your application is called. After the chairman recognizes you, please state your name and address when you make your comments. If you are having troubles getting into the Zoom, please email planninginfo@wycokck and let Secretary Parker know. Proper meeting decorum is expected to all participating in the meeting, and anyone who fails to act properly may be removed from the meeting. The city reserves the right to discontinue a meeting if any improper behavior occurs, which prevents the uninterrupted conduct of business. The format of tonight's meeting is as follows. The applicant will make a opening statement explaining the proposal. The applicant will be given 15 minutes to state their case, which includes the applicant, consultants, and other members of the applicant's team. The members of the board will then address any questions they may have to the applicant. Any persons wishing to speak in favor will be recognized and allowed to do so at that time. Then those persons in opposition will be recognized and be able to make their statements and ask questions, with each member of the public being given 5 minutes to express their opinions. Time may not be shared between speakers. A speaker's time may be extended in 5-minute intervals by a 2/3 majority vote of the board. The chairman will ask for a show of hands of people who are in support or opposition that did not speak. The applicant will then answer questions and make a closing statement. Then the public hearing portion of the meeting will be closed, and the public will only be able to address the board if a question is directed to them. The staff will make their recommendation. Then the board will discuss the application and make their decision with a brief statement of the reason for the motion preceding the making of the motion. And the motions to approve shall include the staff conditions unless otherwise stated in the motion. Should we move on to the first item?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Okay, the first item is variance BOZA 2024 24, Brenda Craig, as a 2320 South 8th Street. It is zoned R2B, 2-family district. This appeal has been filed to build an accessible ADA ramp onto the enclosed front porch. Section 27457C2A states that the front yard setback shall not be less than 25 feet from any property line. The applicant is requesting 5 feet, a violation of 20 feet.
All right, thank you. Are you Ms. Craig?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you would please start off with your name and address, please, and then tell us what you'd like to do tonight.
My name is Brenda Craig, and the address is 2320 South 8th Street, Kansas City, Kansas. I here because my home needed a ramp for me and my grandson to go up into because I was hit by a diesel truck and I was in a wheelchair and I could not get into my home. And my grandson come home from the service. He has a tumor on his brain, and the church volunteered and put up a ramp over the steps that are at the front of the house and over the sidewalk that is right there that we walked on to go up those steps to go into the front of my house. And it was put up in October of 2023. And then we didn't hear nothing about that until I think March of 2024 of saying stop service. And we did not, it was already put up. It was already there and being used and nobody seems to have any problem about it, except I did not get a permit for it.
Okay, so you're here tonight to request a variance for the 20 feet, correct?
It's for a permit.
Well, you're here to request a variance for the violation of 20 feet on the setback requirements. That's why you're here tonight, correct?
Well, I guess, I don't know exactly.
That's why you're here.
Go with your flow.
No, there you go. That's the easiest way to get things done. I
Okay.
appreciate that. First of all, I would like to say that you look really good for somebody who was hit by a diesel truck. Most people don't look that good after they've been hit by a diesel truck. So I applaud your resilience there.
Well, it's determination when you have to get by and do things.
I'm sure. Okay, well, thank you for that. Are there any questions from the commission? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to the audience. Anyone in the audience want to speak to this case in favor or in opposition? Please raise your hand if you're online or come to the podium if you're in person. Okay, I'm seeing no one, so we'll go ahead and go to Director Hand and get his comments on this file.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Urban Design. Again, this is a front yard setback variance for an existing ADA ramp. This is in the planned KCK area in the Rosedale neighborhood. Staff received no letters of support, no letters of opposition. As the applicant noted, there was a stop work order related to the ramp. As this is a self-imposed hardship, i.e. she's asking for forgiveness, not permission, as per protocol with the Board of Zoning Appeals, staff recommends denial. We do have conditions of approval if need be, including obtaining a retroactive building permit.
All right, thank you. Any questions for staff? Okay, seeing none, I will stand for a motion when ready. I have Commissioner Ernst.
And Brandy too, I think, and Swart. I'm going to deviate from my normal procedure, and that's move that approve the appeal BOZ 2024-024 based on the fact that Gunnar's recollection was there was nowhere else to put it. And I understand we're breaking the code, but that's why we're here. Subject to all staff stipulations, everything she needs to do to make it right.
All right, thank you. Motion made for approval of Boza case 2024-024, made by Commissioner Ernst. Is that a second, Commissioner Armstrong?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion for approval? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Draws,
Aye.
Ward, Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Easterwood,
Not here.
Ernst,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Miller,
Not here.
not here, okay. Moeller,
He is trying to get on. He was booted out of the meeting, but he's trying to get back on.
and then Schwartz.
Aye.
Okay. Should we wait for Moeller or?
No, but I'm going to need for you to reach out to him if you can,
Okay.
or Janet, somebody reach out to Commissioner Mueller. He's trying to get back in.
Okay, well, as it stands, the motion carries.
Okay, and do you have the vote count, please?
Yeah, 7.
You have 7 in favor and none against?
Yeah, 7 in favor, none against.
All right, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. If you'll just get with the UG staff, they'll tell you what you need to do to get everything done right, that your request has been approved for this evening.
Okay, so who's that? Do I,
It's going to be the planning or the Board of Zoning Appeals
There.
Office. Yep,
and when do I get it with him? After, when do I get with him?
tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning?
Yep.
You can have a number or something?
All right, thank you very much. If you would call the next case, please, Rose.
The next case is Boza 2024 -3731 Anthony Glockel. And then that one is for 2025 South 55th Street, zoned R1 single family district.
All right, thank you. Mr. Gockel, are you in the audience? Are you online? If you are, please raise your hand. Anthony Gockel, 2425 South 55th Street. Okay, I'm not seeing anyone. Go ahead, Rose, we'll put that to the end of our agenda and we'll go on to the next case.
Okay, and then I have Boza 2024-35 Todd Redburn with Veritas Architecture for 2314 West 39th Avenue, zoned RP6 planned high-rise apartment district.
All right, thank you, Mr. Redburn. Okay, I see you online. If you would, Rose, you're going to need to move me over to Janet, what does she need to move me to as moderator? I can't control anybody's volume, or she needs to move me over as a attendant to,
Let me see.
no,
Me?
I need to be moved over to co-host.
Okay.
One moment, please, Mr. Redburn.
Sure.
Okay, Mr. Redburn, we've got you queued up to speak. If you would, please give us your address and tell us what you want to do here this evening.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead.
My name is Todd Redburn, architect and project manager. I represent Kansas City, Kansas Housing Authority. The project has to do with the Housing Authority's parking lot at one of their facilities, Rosedale Towers. They're doing parking improvements, general improvements on that parking lot, and part of that improvements is adding 12 new spaces. Reason being that parking is an issue for the tenants, and so they desperately need more spaces. And in adding those spaces, it causes the site to exceed the 40% minimum of non-vehicular open space. It brings it down to 38%. So we're here to ask to see if that 38%, or gain a variance to see if that 38% would be acceptable.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, anyone in the audience want to speak to this case in favor or in opposition, please raise your hand or come to the microphone. Seeing no one, we'll go ahead and go to staff. We'll get their comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Urban Design. Again, this is an open space variance as noted by the applicant. This is in the Rosedale area plan. Staff received no letters of support, no letters in opposition. There are no notices of violation for this property. Staff recommends approval with conditions, including enhanced landscaping and some sidewalk repair.
All right, thank you. Any questions for staff? Seeing none, I'll stand for a motion. Commissioner Straws.
I move to approve BOZA 2024-31 with staff stipulations and comments.
All right, thank you. Motion to approve BOZA case 2024-035 made by Commissioner Straws. Is that a second, Commissioner Armstrong?
Yes, it is.
All right, thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Strauss,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Ernst,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Miller.
Absent.
Okay. I don't know. Mueller, still absent.
Absent, still trying to get in.
Okay. And Schwartz.
Aye.
Okay, I have 6 in favor, none against. Is that consistent with your account?
That's correct.
I thank you. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Redburn.
Thank you.
Okay. And then, you want to go on to 38?
Yes, please.
Okay, so it would be, BOZA 2024-38. Amy Grant with Pulsinelli PC at 6909 State Avenue.
All right. Oh, yes, Mr. Peterson.
Chairman, board members, hello. Good evening, Kurt Peterson. Here on behalf of the applicant, Marion Development Group. My address is 900 West 48th Place, Kansas City, Missouri. Quick reminder from our last planning commission meeting where you actually heard the substance and wearing your other hat as planning commission of this project. This is the 192 unit multifamily project located at the southeast corner of College Parkway and State Avenue. Planning commission recommended unanimously it on to the Board of County Commissioners. And then last week, the Board of County Commissioners unanimously approved that project. So we're back with our one little detail that staff had flagged in the staff report at the time that we would be here to talk about, which is a single variance request. The variance request is related to parking requirement. The code would say that 354 parking stalls would be required. The proposed is 273. That's an 81 stall deficit. Here's the justification that we find compelling, and we hope you do too, along with staff who has supported this request to the board. 1, Plan KCK definitely promotes density and not over parking as a principle, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're promoting having the right amount of living units here without having a sea of parking that we found to be unnecessary. Second, the property is located next to the highest frequency transit route in the entire city. And we could go through very technically. I think I did some of this even at Planning Commission where the bus stops are and things like that, but very close by. Developer also has favored green space in this project. So again, we don't end up with more concrete than you have to. And there's both passive green space, open space, and there's active open space by the clubhouse where there's picnic tables and place for people to live, not in a jungle of concrete or asphalt. Also, in some instances, we're very particular about these sorts of requests because we worry that there might be a neighboring property, whether it be residential or commercial, that somehow could be overwhelmed if there weren't enough parking stalls. Well, here you have College Parkway and you have State Avenue. There really is nothing that could be overwhelmed if the calculation is wrong here. Not to suggest it will be, but we just don't have to worry about that. Also, really thinking through without doing a full biography again, which I did at Planning Commission, which I can do it again. The developer has lots of experience with these exact types of projects in many different cities. And the only party that could really lose out here, given what I said, there's no place for people to go off site and park, would be the developer because they wouldn't be able to rent their units. They're making a many tens of $1 million investment on the basis of them knowing what historically parking is required for their development. And then lastly, because you always need to show some sort of backup plan, although we absolutely do not think it will be necessary, there are ways to add by taking away green space and islands and things like that, quite a bit of parking if we had to. We've made a commitment to staff, which I'm sure is part of the reason staff is fully supportive of this request, is that if we need to, we would come back with a revised final plan and ask you to put in some more parking. Because again, the only people that lose if there's not enough parking is the owner of this project. They can't have that be. With that, I'd be happy to answer any of your questions you might have about this request.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Peterson?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead, Commissioner Beth.
Yeah, there is no on-street parking on State Avenue or
Correct.
College Parkway,
That's right.
but there are businesses on the east side of that property.
The industrial you're talking about, the Turner Diagonal Industrial Park, Commissioner, is what you're referring to.
Now, there's a business on State Avenue. Next to
So
that,
east
just
of us,
east of that.
I'm just, so I follow. East of us is industrial. You're thinking of the home improvement store on the north side of State, or you're thinking of?
No,
the-
there's one on the corner, a private business on the corner there. That used to be a tire shop or something there. I don't know what it is now, but there is two other businesses east of there besides the industrial park, which covers which is southeast of there. And there's also the Lowe's parking lot across the street. My question is, that we just had a variance to add parking spaces by a apartment that said parking's premium. And you have nothing other than your property for your parking spaces without coming back later and adjusting green space. And I don't think the bicycle racks really compensate for vehicle traffic. I drive down that street every day. I haven't seen a bicycle on there yet.
Yeah, I didn't bring up
since
bicycles. I'm with you.
November,
I'm
but-
with you. I'm with you.
But
I agree on that. I
But
think
that's,
transit's
that's
helpful.
just my concern. We're adding 12 spaces to an apartment for premium parking, and you want 81 space deficit, which is significant to me. It's not a small number of parking spaces, in my opinion.
And just in short, I would just say, I think the code probably overparks, so it shows a deficit that's really big, but I respect your opinion. I hear what you're saying, respect your opinion.
Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, seeing that, anyone in the audience want to speak to this case in favor or in opposition, please raise your hand or come to the microphone if you're in the chambers. Seeing no one, we'll go ahead and close the public portion of the meeting. We'll go to Director Han and get his comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Gunnar Hand, Director of Planner and Design. Again, as the applicant noted, this case is associated with changes zone 2024-034 and Master Plan Amendment 2024-012, both of which have been approved by both city planning, recommended for approval by the City Planning Commission and approved by the Board of Commissioner at their December P&Z hearing, which happened to happen in January because of the holidays. This is in the planned KCK area in the Midtown right off State Avenue, which is our by far largest transit corridor in the Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas. Staff received no letters of support, no letters in opposition. There are no notices of violation for this property. Staff recommends approval with conditions, including adding additional bike parking. I would note that the changes zone and master plan amendment required direct pedestrian access to State Avenue. Again, we talk a lot about the first last mile to transit, and having a pedestrian connection as well as bicycle parking supports transit use, therefore reducing the need for parking. We also have a condition in there about having a parking strategy by the applicant as it regards to guest parkings and assignment of spaces for units.
All right, thank you. Any questions for staff? Seeing none, I'll stand for a motion when ready.
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead, Commissioner Jones.
Motion to approve BOZA case number 2024-038, subject to staff stipulations and comments, including the additional bike parking.
All right, thank you. Motion made to approve BOZA 2024-038 by Commissioner Jones. Is that a second, Commissioner Armstrong?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Straws,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Nay.
was that a nay? Or an aye?
That is correct. It is a nay.
It's a no.
Nay, okay. Okay, Ernst,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
I
and
have
Muller's
five.
still not here, right?
Correct. I have 5 in favor, 1 against. Is that consistent with your
Mhm.
count?
Yep, that is correct.
All right, motion passes. That takes us back up the agenda to the case where the gentleman was not
Mhm.
attendance. BOZA case 2024-031. Anthony Gockel, are you here? Anthony Gockel. All right, Gunnar, what do you want to do with this one?
This case was held over from last month. I would recommend we move forward.
All right, you want to go ahead and present it then?
Sure thing.
Can you move the microphone just a little closer to you?
Yes, is that better?
That is, thank you.
All right, sorry. Again, Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Design. This variance is a request on 2 variants, one for the size of an accessory structure, the other for the location of the accessory structure. This was held over from the December hearing in order for the applicant to work with staff. Staff did connect with the applicant, and the applicant did not want to move the location of the accessory structure, which he still proposes in the front yard of his property. This is in the Plan KCK area, the Turner neighborhood. Staff received no letters of support, no letters in opposition. There are no notices of violation on the property. Staff recommends denial of the variances. We do have conditions of approval that would allow for the larger structure, but not allow for a location in the front yard. There's a condition as written, I think it's condition number 2, if the Board of Zoning Appeals wants to move forward with approval, that would still require that accessory structure to be somewhere in the side or rear yard.
All right, thank you. Questions for Director Hand? Okay, we're going to go ahead and open up the audience comment. Anyone want to speak to this case in favor or in opposition, raise your hand or come to the microphone if you're in the chambers. All right, seeing none, we've already heard from Director Hand. Any questions from the commission? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and stand for a motion when ready. Go ahead, Commissioner Jones.
I make a motion to deny BOZA case number 2024-031 based on it not meeting statutory requirements and the apparent lack of interest of the petitioner in not having shown up at this meeting nor the previous one.
All right, thank you. Motion made for denial of BOZA case 2024-031 by Commissioner Jones for the reasons stated by the maker of the motion. Is that a second, Commissioner Armstrong?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Yes, go
Mr.
ahead.
Gockel was here at the last
Yeah.
planning commission hearing.
Correct. Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Straws,
Aye.
Ward, or I mean
Ward.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Ernst,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Schwartz,
Aye.
I have 6 in favor and 0 opposed. Is that consistent with your count?
correct.
All right, thank you. Motion for denial passes. Okay, that does conclude our agenda. We're going to take about a 5-minute recess and then we will convene. We'll
Mr. Chairman,
I'm
if
sorry.
I could, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We need to elect officers of the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Yes, we do. Thank you. So at this time, we do need to elect officers for the Board of Zoning Appeals. Are there any nominations for chair? Commissioner Strauss?
I nominate Jeff Carson,
All right,
Chair.
thank you. Commissioner Ernst, do you have a nomination?
I'll second that nomination.
All right, thank you. Are there any other nominations? All right. Do we need a voice vote?
You need to close the nomination.
All right, we need to close, I will close the nominations quickly, I guess. Seeing no more nominations, we'll close the nominations and then we need to do a roll call vote.
Just do a voice.
All right, okay, all those in favor, please say aye or raise your hand if I can see you online.
Aye.
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 All right,
Aye.
those opposed? I don't know why I'm embarrassed, but anyway. All right, thank you. Thank you for another year of confidence. All right, that will conclude the agenda for the,
Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman.
oh, now we need a vice chair. I am sorry. What am I going to do? I'm not even getting through this meeting. What am I going to do for the next ones? All right, we need nominations for vice chair. Commissioner Ernst.
If Ms. Jones would accept the honor, dubious as it is.
Karen?
I second.
Okay, I will accept the honor. in that
Okay,
case.
then moved and seconded for Karen Jones. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Seeing none, we'll close the nominations and we'll do another vote. All those in favor of Karen Jones to serve as vice chair, Board of Zoning Appeals, raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
There we go. Congratulations once again. Thank you. Pleasure to serve with you.
Quick, Mr. Rose, Mr. Mueller did join, so that was a 7-0 vote for vice chair.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We will take that 5-minute recess and we'll start the City Planning Commission right after that. Thank you. Okay, we'll have
There's just
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm asking you that for that. What's the address?
That's on them.
I have to set up this code.
Okay, good evening once again. For those of you that were here for the Board of Zoning Appeals, we'll now start the City Planning Commission. So I want to welcome you to the January 13th meeting of the City Planning Commission. My name is Jeff Carson. I'm serving as chair of tonight's meeting. We'll make a couple of introductions before we start. First off, I have Karen Jones to my right, who is serving as vice chair. Gunnar Hand is the Director of Planning and Urban Design down at the tables, along with Janet Parker, who is currently the Executive Assistant to the Department of Planning and Urban Design. Byron Toy with the Department of Planning and Urban Design as well. We have Michael Farley with the Unified Government Legal Counsel. Online with us, we have Rose Morris, who is, right now I'm calling her the assistant to the executive assistant. No? She's the professional assistant to the Planning and Urban Design Department. And right now with us, we have the following commissioners present. Again, Karen Jones to my right. To my left, we have Commissioner Dwayne Beth. Online, we have Commissioner James Ernst, Commissioner Brandy Armstrong, Commissioner Joseph Strauss, Commissioner Mark Moeller, and Commissioner Mary Beth Schwartz. Have I missed anyone? Okay. Before we start, Rose, I do have something I would like to read. I would like to read a proclamation. Tonight will be the last meeting of our executive assistant who has been with the Unified Government over 50 years, Janet Parker, who is with us at the table. So first of all, I'd like to have you all join me in giving her a round of applause. Can you imagine working 50 years for the government? Anyway, Janet, I have a proclamation that I would like to read to you before I present it to you. It's a long one, so settle in. So this is from the City Planning Commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals proclamation. Whereas Ms. Janet Parker has worked for the Unified Government's Planning and Urban Design Department and all preceding agencies thereof for a total of 50 years, 4 months, and 1 week? 1 week, okay. You got it right, Gunnar. Whereas she was first hired as a clerk typist for the City of Kansas City, Kansas Planning Department on September 16th, 1974. And whereas her outstanding work led her to several promotions within the planning department, including secretary, administrative secretary, office assistant, administrative support specialist, professional assistant, and finally administrative coordinator, i.e. the boss of the office. And whereas she served 6 different department directors, and whereas she has been recording secretary for the Kansas City, Kansas Planning Commission and Landmarks Commission for over 4 decades, as well as the Board of Zoning Appeals for more than 2 decades. And whereas during that time, she has attended called cases, recorded votes, and transcribed minutes for over 500 city planning and landmark commission hearings and over 200 Board of Zoning Appeals hearings, having missed only 3 meetings total in her tenure. And whereas she serves as the Kansas chapter president and has been recognized by the International Association of Administrative Professionals on multiple occasions for her contributions to the field and the organization. And whereas she has served as a conscientious and dedicated member of staff and demonstrated through word and action a deep passion and love for her community, its present and future well-being. And whereas she served alongside her mother, Betty Jean Parker, who was a model volunteer for the planning department, sometimes working 12 to 14 hours a day, trying to meet a deadline until her stroke in 2012. And whereas her enduring affection for her granddogs, as well as the memories of her past family dogs, assisted her with the serenity needed to function daily as the department's chief organizer of chaos. And whereas she unapologetically kicked ass and took names to support her department family, and whereas her excellent and dutiful 21 decade of service to the community should not go unrecognized. Now, therefore, the City Planning Commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals wishes to recognize, got to the last part, and commend Ms. Janet Parker for her contributions to this community and its democracy on this day, Monday, January 13th, 2025. And it's signed by myself and Director Gunnar. Janet, thank you for everything. I can't imagine what we're going to do without you. I'm going to bring this down to you. That's what I read, and then we get it. That's a good answer. Why don't you get the note? Go ahead and let it know.
Second.
I would. Mr. Chairman, you know, I'm not going to get away without saying a few quick words, but I was reminiscing yesterday about the first planning commission that I was honored to serve with. There were 7 of them, and I can remember most of them. E.A. Freeman was the chairman, and he was our chairman for over 30 years of the planning commission.
That's how long this is going to last? Okay, keep going.
Frank Corbett, who was a banker, Gene Barrett, who was a banker, Carl Klein, who owned Snow's down here on 6th Street, Dr. Patricia Carruthers, who was in education at the Kansas City, Kansas Community College, and Mr. Phil Gibbs, who is, he's still alive and still working at his engineering firm. And it's been my privilege to work and to serve this city and county and the commissions for all of these years. And it's been a privilege, and I've actually worked with some very good chairmen until the very end. We started
I
out,
knew this wasn't going to go well for me.
we started out with E.A. Freeman, and we had Brad Ratliff and Michael Davis, Joanne Huey, and yourself.
Mr. Hurlbrank?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about
Yeah.
David Earlbrink.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been an honor, and you know, I look back fondly on all this time, and 50 years really has gone quickly. But I'm not going to totally leave this guy on his own over here, because I'm going to volunteer 2 days a week for 6 months until they are completely trained. And the other thing I want to say is that we've actually hired 2 people to replace me.
I
And
believe
have
that.
outsourced some of the work too. So anyway, thank you so much for this honor, and I may be back from time to time to see you.
We hope so. Thank you again, Janet. Okay, on with the fun. Rose, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Janet. Hopefully eventually I'll be as good as her at reading this, but we'll see.
Get there.
We'll get there. Okay, so welcome everyone to the meeting of the City Planning Commission. The members are participating remotely by Zoom webinar and in person in the Commission chamber. Jeff Carson is serving as chairman this evening. Please note the following instructions for the meeting. Planning Commission members attending by Zoom, please make sure that you're visible during the meeting and use the raise your hand feature to speak. After Chairman Carson recognizes you, unmute your microphone and please state your name when beginning to speak. If you are in person in the commission chamber, when Chairman Carson recognizes you, please state your name before speaking. For those members of the public in attendance via Zoom or telephone, please use the raise your hand feature when you want to speak on an issue. The chairman will recognize you when it is your time to speak. Unmute your microphone and state your name and address before giving your comments. If you are attending in person, please come to the microphone in front of the room when your application is being called, and the chairman will recognize you when it is your time to speak. Proper meeting decorum is expected of all participating in the meeting, and anyone who fails to act properly will be removed from the meeting. The city reserves the right to discontinue a meeting if any improper behaviors occur, which prevents the uninterrupted conduct of business. The Planning Commission is a voluntary body of citizens which will review each zoning proposal for all change of zones, special use permits, vacations, and preliminary plan reviews on tonight's agenda. The Planning Commission will make a recommendation to the Unified Government Board of Commissioners, who will then make the final decisions on Thursday, January 30th, 2025. For final plats and final plan reviews heard tonight, the Planning Commission's decision is final and there will not be another hearing. The format for this tonight's meeting is as follows. The applicant will make the opening statement explaining the proposal. Please note that the applicant will be given 15 minutes to present their case, and the 15 minutes includes the applicant, consultants, and other members of the team. 2 members of the Planning Commission will then address any questions they may have to the applicant. Any persons wishing to speak in favor will be called upon and will be allowed to do so at that time. 3, then those in opposition will be called upon and allowed to make their statements and ask questions. Please note that members of the public who wish to speak will be given 5 minutes to express their opinions. Time may not be shared between speakers. 4, a speaker may request to extend their time, and the Planning Commission may, by 2/3 a majority vote, extend the speaker's time in 5-minute increments. 5, the chairman will ask for a show of hands of the persons in support and in opposition that do not wish to speak. 6, the applicant will then answer questions and then make a closing statement. 7, the public hearing portion of the meeting will be closed and the public will only be allowed to address the commission if a question is directed to them. 8, the Planning Commission will discuss the application and make their recommendation. If persons in opposition want to formally protest a change of zone or special use permit, a means is available by a legal protest petition, which can be obtained along with the necessary instructions by emailing the Planning Design Department at planninginfo@wycokck tomorrow morning. Any application receiving a unanimous vote of recommendation by the Planning Commission will appear on the consent agenda of the Unified Government Board of Commissioners. Unless there is a request to remove an item from the consent agenda by the applicant, a member of the Unified Government Commission or other interested parties, the Planning Commission's recommendation will be adopted. The consent agenda is heard at the beginning of the meeting at 7 p.m. The Planning Commission will also have a consent agenda as part of their meeting this evening. The consent agenda is the first part of the agenda. Items on the consent agenda are final plats, final plans, or the special use permit renewals that have been received a staff recommendation to approve. Unless there's a request to remove an item from the consent agenda by the applicant, a member of staff or a member of the commission or other interested parties The staff recommendation on all items on the consent agenda will be adopted by the Planning Commission at one time. I will read a list of agenda items that are on the consent agenda, and then when I have completed the list, the chairman will ask if there's any request to remove items. This will be your time to use the raise your hand feature, be recognized, or request that an item be removed from the consent agenda. If you do not agree with the staff's recommendation, or removed from the consent agenda, if you do not agree with the staff's recommendation. If you are in the commission chamber, please come to the microphone, state your name, and address the item that you want to remove from the consent agenda. The planning commission is required to disclose contacts about any item on the planning commission agenda. Before each item, I will ask if any contacts have been made, and members of the commission will be asked to disclose their contacts. Please note that your opinions will be forwarded to the governing body for their consideration and making a final decision on Thursday, January 30th, 2025 at 7 p.m. And now I will read the items on the consent agenda. So the first one is consideration of the December 9th, 2024 Planning Commission minutes. Then there is special use permit SP 2024-101 Nick Christensen. The synopsis is he is requesting a renewal of a special use permit to operate a private facility as an outdoor youth recreation experience with nature trails and walks at 2640 Wooden Lane. The next item on the consent agenda is plan review application PR 2024-037 Rich Millman with Forest Products Co. He is requesting a final plan review for the addition of an on-site canopy at 2101 South 88th Street. At this time, does any member of the commission wish to disclose any contacts?
No.
Okay.
All right, thank you. We'll go ahead and deal with the consent agenda first. Is there anyone on the commission that would like to have any item removed from the consent agenda? Okay, seeing no one, is there anyone in the audience that would like to remove an item from the consent agenda? Okay, seeing no one, I will entertain a motion on the two items on our on our consent agenda. Go ahead, Commissioner Jones.
Motion to approve the 3 items on the consent agenda as proposed.
Are there 3 or are there just 2?
Minutes.
I'm sorry,
Of
yes.
the minutes.
Got it, thank you. Okay, motion to approve the consent agenda made by Commissioner Jones. Is that a second, Commissioner Armstrong? Commissioner Armstrong?
Yes, it was.
All right, thank you. Any
Yes.
discussion? Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Okay. Strauss,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Ernst,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
I would like, would you go ahead and
Pass
please
7.
call on Commissioner Easterwood, who has joined the meeting?
Oh, did I skip her? I'm so sorry about that. Okay, Easterwood.
Aye.
Okay. All right, I have 8 to 0.
All right, thank you. 8 in favor and 0 against. The consent agenda passes, so thank you all. If your item was on the consent agenda, there's no reason for you to stay unless you enjoy this type of thing. You're welcome to stay with us, but you're welcome to leave also. And the Board of Commissioners meeting, these will go on to the Board of Commissioners on January 30th for final approval.
Only the special use permit.
I'm sorry, only special use application 2024-101. The plan review application is approved. Thank you. Rose, go ahead and call the first non-consent agenda item, please.
Okay. So the consent agenda is complete. I will consider the non-consent agenda. The first one is special use permit application SP 2024-057, Brad Willits with Dynasty Holdings. This one, they were requesting a holdover until next month, and they were priorly approved from the chair, so that's why they have moved up in the agenda.
All right, Mr. Willits. It's our understanding that you're here tonight to request a holdover of this application. Is that correct?
It is, Mr. Chair. I'm Greg Musel with the Rouse Fretz Law Firm,
All right.
5250 West.
Anything you want to add before we consider that motion? I am going to call upon the public to see if there's any comments they wanted to make. But is that all you're here tonight, is to request the holdover?
That is, but I wanted to make sure, we were here last month and got it held over to this month. We were supposed to meet with the Neighborhood Watch Group from Morris on last Thursday. The Neighborhood Watch Group canceled the meeting because of the weather and illness. So kind of beyond our control, we didn't come back here with any feedback from the community, which I think everyone here sought. I realized that your next meeting here is February 10th. Their next Neighborhood Watch meeting is February 13th. So if we want that input, which I think we all left here a month ago wanting, we would have to go to your March 10th Planning Commission. Otherwise, we'll be back in the same situation.
All right, so you're requesting a 60-day holdover
I
then?
think we have to,
All
Mr.
right.
Chair.
All right, thank you. All right, if you'll go ahead and have a seat, we'll check on this. Is there anyone in the audience that came tonight to speak on this application that would like to speak this evening? The request is we're going to hold this over till our March meeting, but if anybody came tonight that would like to speak, I would like to give you that opportunity. Okay, I have one person, Jim S. Jim S. online. Go ahead, please. Give us your name and address, please.
Yes, this is Jim Seals from 7133 Gibbs Road. I just wanted to make sure people knew that we weren't there because we were given notice they were going to ask for an extension. It's not because we aren't still concerned and want to voice our opinion on it. It's just we knew they weren't going to do anything. So
All right.
we'll be there in 2 months.
All right, great. Appreciate your comment. Anyone else? All right, thank you. Any questions? I'm sorry, we're going to go to Director Han and get his comment on the holdover request.
Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Urban Design, staff's in agreement with the holdover for 60 days. I would just note that that would exhaust the Planning Commission's code maxed out 90 days. So any future extensions would come from the staff's 90 days granting them. So.
Should we ask if the planning department's had a chance to?
No.
Got it muted. Thank you.
Sorry. So just a clerical note.
All right, thank you. Any questions for staff? If not, I'll entertain a motion for the holdover request. Commissioner Jones?
Motion to approve the petitioner's request to hold over this application for 60 days and that special use permit 2024-057.
All right, and that meeting date is March what? Is it March 10th? All right, thank you. Motion for holdover to March 10th made by Commissioner Jones. Is that a second, Commissioner Ernst?
It is. However, I'm disturbed by what Mr. Seals just told us, but it's important that we let it run its course.
All right, thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Straws,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Easterwood,
Aye.
Ernst,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
I have 8 in favor, 0 against. Is that consistent with your count?
Correct.
All right, thank you. The motion passes. We'll see you all in 60 days.
Thank you for moving us up.
Okay, the next application is a change of zone application, COZ 2024-16. Steve Sobek. It is a change of zone from AG agriculture and R rural residential districts to RP1 planned single family and RP1B single family districts to create 241 residential lots at 12024 Leavenworth Road and 3351 North 123rd Street. And then I also have plat application, plat 2024-17, Steve Sobek. Is to create 241 residential lots at 12024 Leavenworth Road and 3351 North 123rd Street. Does anyone have any contacts to disclose on these applications?
No.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Sobek? My understanding, you're here tonight to request a holdover on this case, is that correct?
Yes, if we could, please.
All right, and what type of holdover are you looking for? And you're looking for 30 days or?
Yeah, 30 days until,
right.
February 10th.
All right. Any questions for the applicant and the request for a holdover? Are you gonna be working towards some resolutions of some of the outstanding issues? Is that what we're requesting it for?
That's exactly right. We're just trying to finish out conversations with different groups. Holidays kind of set us back a little bit, unfortunately.
All right, thank you. All right, any questions for the applicant? Okay, we may have some folks that wanted to speak, so I'm going to go ahead and call on the public. Anyone in the audience want to speak to this case that came tonight that would like to be heard this evening? Okay, oh, go ahead. Yes, sir, Mr. Palmer. Your name and address, please.
My name is Neil Palmer. I reside at 2600 North 131st Street. I also am a property owner at 11611 Donahue, which is about 1,500 feet from the proposed development. I would note that I have had the opportunity to meet in person with Mr. Sobek and his builder since the last meeting that was held over, and I'm pleased to hear that he's going to continue to work on trying to conform this. So I'll keep this very brief with the hopes that we can get this aligned with codes and ordinances. I think the big thing to note, I just want to set kind of the preface for this. I'm going to cite from the Plan KCK document, low density residential to provide single family detached development, and I'm shortcutting here, intended to both support and protect established single family neighborhoods. Development in these areas should provide adequate open space to maintain the neighborhood character, with clustering units and dedicating areas for larger open spaces encouraged. That document then goes back to the Piper Delaware Prairie Master Plan, not to school y'all, but this has been in effect for almost 21 years now. And this proposed development is right on the edge of what this document says of suburban density, which is a change in nomenclature from the previous document, to be primarily located between Leavenworth Road and more intense commercial industrial entertainment uses south of Parallel Parkway. So we're right on the fringe of that. And one of the policy and guidelines for Area 1, which geographically this falls into, is for 15% open space. In reading through all of the documents that were prepared by the staff, I don't see anywhere where that calculation has been confirmed. I do note that the developer has said they're going to donate 2.5 acres to the UG. 2.5 acres into 85 is roughly 3%. I know that their plat shows a lot of open areas, which are primarily for drainage swales and what I believe would be detention basins. I don't think that's the intent of what planning and development wants for open spaces. I would think that would be someplace you could at least go throw a Frisbee, walk your dog, et cetera, because you can't hardly do that in a bioswale. Would further note that this document refers to development policies, not guidelines, not suggestions, not inference, but what I determine policy as a standard to have lot widths of 80 to 100% of 70 feet and 0 to 20% of 50 feet. Further nomenclature here, and this is where it gets in the subjective part of new development, should be compatible or fit within the overall setting. Proposed to adjacent residential subdivision should have lot sizes and units that are similar in size. I'm not going to read all of this, but what I specifically wanted to refer to in the staff report was just a couple places in here where to go to item 11, the project which requires revisions and redesign could meet all ordinance requirements. And I'm trusting that this holdover is an attempt to make the could, does, and shall. And that in item 14, the portion of subdivision that is being redesigned accounts for 27.8% of the lots in R1B. So That's 72.2%, and move to 80. But only 35.63%, 62 of 174 comply with the 70-foot lot width requirements. And in item 15, its staff states the subdivision as proposed is not compatible in lot size or lot to structure proportion with existing development on adjacent properties, primarily to the east, Newberry, or Pavilions, and Newberry, which is to the west. Key issues, the very first one that's stated here is compliance with the Piper Delaware Prairie Area Plan. Two things that I would like to note, and I'm just going to read this from staff recommendation once more. Following requirements of the Prairie Delaware Piper Area Plan have not been met, which is 80 to 100% of the lots must meet a width of 70 feet, and 0 to 20% may have a lot width of 50 feet. One of the things that's talked about in all of this is providing a buffer along Leavenworth Road of natural vegetation. If you look at the site, it's not the easiest site to build on. There's a high ridge down the middle, and there's almost a 40-foot drop off to the east, but there is a lot of existing, very mature, very old trees and vegetation that you can't tell from a flat plat plan how much of that's going to be retained. And I'd like in consideration as we move forward that some of that tree line, particularly across the east side and the north side, be retained to not only buffer this development from the road, but north of this development is open pasture, equestrian farms, and there's also a 161 kV high line that runs down there connecting the Piper substation to Walcott. These trees provide a natural screen for that eyesore, which many people in Piper knows runs down a lot of our main thoroughfares in there. And I'd like to have the planning and zoning in concert with the developer consider maintaining as much of that existing buffer of natural vegetation between this development, the neighborhoods, and particularly to the flat open acreage north of that to the greatest degree they can. So in just closing, I appreciate the stewardship of this committee in maintaining the policies. It's not an easy thing to do. I know from time to time you have to grant variances of onesies and twosies, but you know, this is a wide open 85-acre plat. There should be no reason why they can't comply with all the regulations that we've had in place for so long and make it work. And I trust working together, we can all make that happen. And lastly, I wanted to recognize Janet as well. Ms. Parker, 50 years is a long time for any organization. And as a constituent, having interacted with her and many others in the staff, to have somebody that knows and if they don't know, find out very thoroughly what the answers are and are promptly responsive. And on top of that, being cheerful, what they do is a rare commodity these days. So hats off to you for your years of service, and I'm sure everybody else will carry on the tradition. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer, for your comments and for your comments about Janet. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Chairman. Mike Nichols, 3108 North 118th Street, Kansas City, Kansas. I'm going to keep it brief as well. I do want to once again express my gratitude for Commissioners Beth and Commissioner Ward, who I don't believe is with us tonight, who voted against this project previously. And I wanted just to bring up, because it's going to be fresh in our minds this week, and it might not be next time we are before you, but I think just this last week has given us some example of some of the concerns, those of us who have raised concerns about what this would do to the school district and the infrastructure, how that would affect everything, given the fact that our schools were shut entirely all of last week, much longer than I think should have been necessary under the circumstances because of the difficulty of clearing the roads in the area that we have already, and we're not able to get the kids back to school like we should have been able to. When you look at Leavenworth Road, It is a road that does not necessarily appear to be well suited to adding 241 vehicles worth of traffic directly on and off on a daily basis. And that's essentially what you're going to be doing here, because although we do appreciate, and I likewise have had a chance to meet with Mr. Sobek and a representative from DR Horton, and appreciated their willingness to engage with us and to talk about our differences. And I'm happy to hear that they continue to do that. But even though they, from the very first time this was proposed, which it didn't have the parcel that connected over to on 123rd Street, so all traffic would come in and out on Leavenworth Road. I really don't think that the addition of that parcel has really changed it that much. At that time, I believe there was about 220 houses. So with the additional parcel, there's additional properties, and I think the only people that would ever really go out that way would be the additional properties that are on that parcel, if that makes sense to you. That all of the houses that would have been on the initial plat are going to come in and out of Leavenworth Road, just because there's no reason to backtrack. Most people are going to be heading south and east, and there's no reason to backtrack northwest to get out of that neighborhood. And so I don't think it really helps a lot with the coming and going. Leavenworth Road has no curb, it has no sidewalk, it has very little in the way of shoulder on that road. It's technically a highway, but does not at all seem to meet the needs of that description. And I'm worried about adding this much additional traffic to a road like that. Even if you get up to Donahue, for instance, once you get past Hutton and move on west, there's been a lot of work done to add infrastructure around there, curbs and sidewalks and things that just make it safer to handle that kind of traffic. And Leavenworth Road is not that. And it's already dealing with the additional traffic that's caused by moving the high school out to 131st Street, which has been significant. And I do think it's important to consider that when looking back at what is now a traffic study for this project that's quite old. It's been postponed many times. And that traffic study was done, I believe, well before the high school moved to that location. And so I think that the traffic study would not really be at this point, probably relevant, because it's not taking into account the conditions as they exist now. But if we've got neighborhoods that right now can't get plowed for this amount of time to get kids back in school, and we add an extra 241 homes, which are a tightly, very condensed neighborhood, and that was where the issues were. The issues were not the thoroughfares. Those got cleaned out relatively quickly. It's getting into these neighborhoods, and the more tightly and densely compact they are, the harder it is for these vehicles to get through and plow those. And so with that and the idea that I understand that the reason why at a project like this would be attractive to the members of this commission and the members of the Unified Government Commission is that it should potentially increase property tax revenue, and that it should perhaps create more stock in the housing and potentially reduce housing prices. But the city staff's report itself said that this was not going to cause a net gain to the city budget. It was essentially going to consume as many resources as the taxes it would generate would create. And so it's revenue neutral at best. And I think that's probably an understatement, because I think it's going to immediately require additional school room for children to be coming into the Piper School District, which is going to make it, quite frankly, a negative. It's going to require more tax money from the Piper School District than it's going to generate. And so with all of those things in mind, I think that we're putting the cart before the horse here a little bit by trying to put this out on a highway that is not, it doesn't appear, well suited to adding this kind of additional traffic to it. Now, if the city wants to go ahead and extend the infrastructure and start rebuilding up Leavenworth Road so that it is a road that's capable of more safely handling that kind of traffic by extending the shoulders, providing curbs, providing places for pedestrians to walk, then perhaps a project like this could be considered. But the last week or so, just watching what has happened with our infrastructure and the ability of our city staff to try to maintain it during a storm like this has only raised the prevalence of that in my mind. And so I ask that you keep that in mind, because a month from now, that might not be quite as fresh with us. And I look forward to speaking with you all next month, if that is in fact when the matter will be heard again.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing no more, we'll go back to Director Hand. Any comments on the request for holdover?
Director Hand, Director of Planning and Urban Design, staff agrees with the holdover notice.
All right,
or holdover
thank you.
request.
Any questions for staff? And if not, I'll stand for a motion.
I have a question for staff. So given the last gentleman's comments, Gunner, is an updated traffic study going to be done? I'm very familiar with that area, and so I do know that the transition of the high school there on Leavenworth Road has definitely impacted the traffic pattern. So I think that was a good point.
Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Urban Design. A new traffic study has been submitted.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other comments for Director Han? If not, I'll stand for a motion on the holdover request.
I'll go ahead and make it.
Go ahead, Commissioner Jones.
Motion to approve a holdover request for change of zone, case number 2024-016. And should I go ahead? Because there's the plat case connected to that.
You can go ahead, yeah, plat 2024-017.
Correct. And also the corresponding case, plat case number 2024-017. Again, both the cases be held over for 30 days.
All right, thank you. Holdover request for both cases made by Commissioner Jones. Is that a second, Commissioner Easterwood?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Draws,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Easterwood,
Aye.
Ernst,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
and Swartz.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, motion carries 8 in favor, 0 against. We'll see you all next month. Thank you.
Okay. Are you waiting for the next application? Okay, the next application is change of zone application COZ 2024-037 from Josh and Jenna Breerlane. It's a change of zone from CO non-retail business district
I think
to,
you missed one, Rose. I think we're on change of zone application 2024-036, Tim Winkler.
sorry about that. Okay. I might have done that. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, change of zone application, COZ 2024-036, Tim Winkler. It is a change of zone from CP2, Planned General Business District, to CP3, Planned Commercial District, to operate a landscape company at 7301 State Avenue. The following items were included as far as record for this case. The zoning and subdivision regulations, the official zoning map for the area, the city's currently adopted master plan for the area, the staff report and attachments dated January 13th, 2025, the application and other documents, plans and pictures and maps, the notice to the Wyandotte Echo, and the notices to the property owners. Does anyone have any contact to disclose?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. Are you Mr. Winkler?
I am.
All right,
Yes.
thank you. Go ahead and name and address, please.
Tim Winkler, 1010 Walnut Street, Suite 500, Kansas City, Missouri, 64106. And I'm appearing on behalf of the applicant, Ravina Farms. And I'm not sure after proclamation if I should be addressing you guys or the real boss of the office, Ms. Parker. So, awesome. Rose, you read that like you've been doing it for 49 years. So good job. I'm joined tonight, I think, on Zoom by a couple of members of our team. But in essence, applicant is a landscaping business, as Rose mentioned. We operate 7 operations across the country, including 2 in the Kansas City area, 1 in Kansas City, Kansas. And we're currently under contract to purchase the property and are looking to consolidate the KCK operations at this location. And we are requesting a change of zone to do those operations. As noted in the staff report, we're working with our engineer, Mr. Osborne, with McClure Engineering at the moment to revise some of the preliminary plans. The changes will be minimal, but we largely agree with the review of the staff comments and their conditions. But one item we did want to flag is it generally relates to the floodway and the special flood hazard zone, and specifically condition number 8 is, yeah, Gunnar, thank you. We think there's a chance that the floodway and the special flood hazard area might be inaccurate. If you look at that location, you'll see that Miller Creek doesn't actually align with the floodplain. It's off a little bit, and we think from just looking at some older satellite images, specifically from 2002. They extended the parking lot and did some construction there. We think it's possible that there might be a LOMA or some kind of associated document floating around which revises the floodplain. And due to that, we would like to revisit condition number 8 and request either that we're not required or suggested to remove some of the pavement of the parking lot, or potentially just get some clarification on how much pavement we would be required to remove. One other request we do have, because it never hurts to ask, due to the nature of purchasing and just wanting some confirmation that the area can be rezoned and the plan can be approved as is, we would request that when we submit the revised plans, that we have an expedited review and wouldn't have to wait till March possibly to get the final approval on that.
Okay, anything else?
Nope.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the applicant? All right, seeing none, we'll go to the public. Anyone in the audience want to speak to this case in favor or in opposition, raise your hand or come forward if you're in the chambers. Seeing none, we'll close the public portion of the meeting. We'll go to Director Hannigan's comment and specifically also on the request made by the applicant.
All right, Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Design. Again, this is a change of zone from CP2 to CP3 for a landscape business. This is primarily needed because in C2, you're not allowed outside storage, but you are allowed outside storage in C3. So if you can think of the things you might need for a landscape business, piles of stuff is one of them. This is in the Plan KCK area, Midtown neighborhood. Staff received no letters of support, no letters in opposition. There is a history of notices of violation on this property prior to this potential future owner if they close on the deal, if the entitlement passes. Staff recommends approval with conditions, including a final development plan, an open space buffer, a sidewalk connection to State Avenue. As it relates to condition number 8, as the applicant's representative noted, or the applicant noted, it looks like sometime in the past this part of the creek was channelized, but the flood hazard zone floodway was not changed on the map. This is our best available data, which you can kind of see here in this picture. That's our best available data. We would need to see some letter of map revision, LOMAR, from the applicant. We're digging through our files to see if we have a copy of that as well. But as it relates to the condition specifically, if the intent is to maximize space for potential outside storage, I think staff's thinking was they're already well over parked. You could remove some of that space into open space, but you could also pretty much just leave it for additional open space. So for ease of the tonight's hearing, there is another condition that requires them to record all the space that's not being used by the site, specifically the creekway and primarily heavily wooded area to the rear. So based on the new site plan, we determine what that open space record would look like. I think that addresses it more than reducing the 40 spaces. So I would recommend the Planning Commission make a motion to approve and remove condition number 8 entirely. I think the intent is still reached by another condition not in question. As it relates to the timeline, the submission deadline for February has already passed for a final development plan, which is, I assume, what the question was about. They would need to submit it by the end of this month's submission deadline to even get to the March meeting at the earliest. All of those timelines are determined by state statute and noticing requirements, and there's nothing we can do to expedite that.
All right, thank you. Any questions for staff?
Just one quick question. So
Commissioner Jones?
Gunnar, you said that you were recommending the removal of condition number 8. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
I think just for ease, again, the intent of maintaining open space for the remainder of the parcel, there's still lots of open space left. Again, I think that also maximizes the flexibility for the applicant without doing anything, just keeping the same site and using that space in some way, shape, or form. So I think that'd probably be the most ideal situation.
All All right, any further questions of staff? If not, I'll stand for a motion when ready. Commissioner Jones?
Motion to approve, change of zone case number 2024-036, subject to staff stipulations and comments with the removal of condition number 8 regarding the floodplain, and the other clarifications that, Gunnar provided.
All right, thank you. Motion made for approval of change of zone application 2024-036 made by Commissioner Jones with the stipulation to remove condition number 8 and the added additional stipulations, stated by staff. Any second, Commissioner Armstrong, is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Strauss,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Easterwood,
Aye.
Ernst,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
I have 8 in favor and 0 against. Motion passes. This will be heard once again on, January 30th at the Board of Commissioners meeting. Thank you.
All right, for the next application is a change of zone application, COZ 2024-037, Josh and Jenna Burlane. It is a change of zone from CO non-retail business district to CP1 planned limited business district for legal non-conforming mixed-use building at 8010 Parallel Parkway. And it is related to MPL 2024 Master Plan Amendment from low density residential to mixed use at 8010 Parallel Parkway. It is the following items were included as part of the record for this case. The city's adopted zoning and subdivision regulations, the official zoning map for the area, city's currently adopted master plan for the area question, the staff report and attachments, the application and other documents, plans, the notice in Wyandotte Echo, and notices to property owners.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Mr. Berlin, is that
Berlin.
correct? Berlin, I'm sorry.
Berline.
All right, go ahead and give us your name and address, please.
Josh Berline, 19537 174th Street in Tonganoxie, Kansas. My wife and I own Communication Station Speech Therapy, which is a speech therapy clinic previously located at 8247 Leavenworth Road. In September, we purchased and moved the business to 8010 Parallel Parkway, a location that was formerly a barbershop and a salon, allowed us to expand the business from having 3 therapy rooms to 6. The property also had an upstairs that had been being used as an apartment and that the seller said represented could be used as an apartment in the future. And that was our intent, was to have it be a furnished apartment upstairs above the business. It has a separate entrance on its own with stairs up to it. And as we pursued getting a rental license, we found out that with the current zoning, it is unable to be mixed use. And so that's what we're seeking, is a change of zone from C0 to CP1, which would allow us to have it be a mixed use building, allow us to pursue that rental license so that we could rent out the upstairs as a furnished apartment. And I think in terms of the feedback, we've provided an updated view that has the parking spaces that were asked for, and a view that has a tree in the island area that was called out. So I think that we have addressed that. The remaining open items, I want to make sure if there's any ask to add additional trees, because it doesn't seem like there's anywhere we could put more trees onto the property. And then there was one about having a rail along the ramp on the south side of the building, which that is not an entrance that is used. It's locked at all times. I would ask if that's a requirement, because it has nothing to do with the apartment. It's to the main floor, but the main entrance of the building is in the rear where all the parking is. So I'd ask if there are any additional details we need to address on those, but otherwise, I think that it covers everything that we're looking for this evening.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, we'll go to the public. Anyone in the public want to speak to this case in favor or in opposition, please come forward or raise your hand if you're online. Seeing no one, we'll go ahead and close the public portion of the meeting. We'll go to Director Hand and get his comment.
Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning, Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Urban Design. Again, this change of zone is being heard in conjunction with Master Plan Amendment 2024-014 from low density to mixed use. Change of zone from CO office to C1, CP1 for rental apartment above an office. This is in the planned KCK area, Midtown neighborhood. Staff received no letters of support, no letters in opposition. There are no notices of violation on this property. Staff does recommend approval with deviations from the commercial design guidelines as addressed as a condition of approval in the staff report, as well as the other conditions noted by the applicant. I'm going to review those for a second. I think the one thing to note here is while it was currently zoned CO for office, the land use has always been residential. So going to mixed use kind of aligns the original intent with the historic use of the property in way, shape, or form. Quick question to the applicant, because I'm not seeing it here. Is the ADA ramp in the rear of the building as well?
Yes, we have ramps both in the front and the rear. And the one in the rear has a rail alongside it.
Right, so I think we were trying to mirror that for the front, even though you're saying you don't use that door, it's still an access point, right?
Yes,
So it could be used potentially for emergency access.
could be.
Okay. And I apologize, what was the other question? The
It's
trees?
about the trees, because that one was about the island in back where the parking area is. There is already a tree there and it's a small space. I can't imagine the second would really add to the quality. And then I believe it also referenced along the front. There's landscaping along the front of the building, a lot of bushes. And there's really very little space between there and the street with the sidewalk to put in like a full-size tree.
If it's the condition I'm looking at, it would be number 3, which cites the code requirement. The code does allow for existing trees to be counted for tree requirement to some degree. So we can use existing trees as well as existing tree stands on the property. So I don't think number 3 necessarily, if I'm missing another, it says keep that tree stand, size, sign. Yeah, I think that's the only one. So the way I would read the condition of approval, it doesn't necessarily say plant trees. It says meet the tree requirement, which I think the site can handle as is. I would recommend we keep that the handrail be added to the second ADA ramp on the north side, south side of the property.
South side.
So I would keep all conditions as is, and I think just to address your comments, I think when you get to the point where you're doing the business license or other permit, we can double check the tree stands for you. Make
Okay.
sure it's okay. I don't think we're asking specifically trees to be planted where they can't be planted
Okay.
in this condition.
All right, thank you. Questions for Director Hand? Seeing none, I'll stand for a motion when ready. Commissioner Jones?
Make a motion. I think I need to make 2 motions. Start with
Correct.
the.
We would start with the master plan amendment first.
So motion to approve master plan amendment number 2024-014, subject to staff stipulations and comments, including the deviations from commercial guidelines and those comments made about the tree requirements as well as the ADA ramp.
All right, thank you. Motion made for approval of master plan amendment 2024-014 by Commissioner Jones. Is that a second, Commissioner Schwartz?
Yes.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Bras,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Easterwood,
Aye.
Ernst,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
All right, thank you. And now I'll entertain a motion on the change of zone request.
Okay, ready?
Commissioner Jones, go ahead.
Part two, motion to approve the change of zone, case number 2024-037, subject to staff stipulations and comments with the same deviations from the commercial guidelines, the tree requirements, and those related to the ADA ramp.
Thank you. Change of zone application 2024-037. Motion was made for approval by Commissioner Jones. Is that a second, Commissioner Commissioner Schwartz?
Yes.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Okay, Strauss,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Easterwood,
Aye.
Ernst,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
I have
Motion
8 in
carries.
favor and 0 against. Is that consistent with your count?
Yep, correct.
Motion passes. Both of these will be heard once again on January 30th before the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next I have change of zone application COZ 2024-38. Kaylin Kellawart is a change of zone from R1B Single Family District to RP5 Planned Apartment District. It's to convert a legal non-conforming duplex into a triplex at 4,000 Adams Street. Does anyone have any contacts to disclose in this application?
No.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Kaylin Kellawart, I've got you queued up, ready to speak. If you would, please start off with your name and address, please, and tell us what you'd like to do.
Yes, my name is Kaylin Kellawart, address 1013 West 47th, Kansas City, Missouri 64112. We purchased a building that was built as a duplex, but learned in the process that it was zoned as single family. So it is currently set up with 2 separate living spaces, and the basement is at this point unfinished and 1,000 square feet of space that I would like to turn into a 3rd unit.
Okay, so you're wanting to turn a duplex into a triplex, correct?
Yes.
All right, but no work has been done on the basement at this time.
No, no.
All right. Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, anyone in the audience want to speak to this case in favor or in opposition, please come forward or raise your hand if you're online. Seeing no one, we'll go to staff, get their comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Urban Design. Again, this is a change of zone request from RP1 to RP5 to convert what we would consider a non-conforming duplex, not a legal non-conforming duplex, into a triplex. This is in the Rosedale area plan. Staff received no letter of support, no letters in opposition. There are some older notices of violation on the property from before, I believe, this owner owned the property, as well as some calls for service from the police regarding, it looks like, theft. Staff does recommend denial of the change of zone. We do have conditions of approval, but those conditions of approval essentially make this a duplex, not a triplex. So the reason it has to jump essentially from R2 to R5 if you were to add 3 is there's a density calculation in that zone, and because the parcel is so small, it has to jump up to R5 to match. Now, there is R5 across the street, but that's an apartment complex. Other than it has been used for a long time as a duplex, staff was unable to find any evidence that it was not anything other than a single-family home approved in the past. Hence, not legal non-conforming, just non-conforming. So we do believe that this would, if you move forward with the conditions of approval as written by staff, it would allow for only the duplex to continue. If you wanted to move forward with the triplex, we would have to remove one of the conditions of approval accordingly. So we can do that on a motion based on your prerogative.
All right, thank you. Any questions for staff? I guess I have one. So the request is for a triplex. So can we take it to the point where we can go ahead and approve it for a duplex if that's not the request? Or do we just deny and send it back and then they can come back with what to create a duplex?
Because it would be essentially going from, it was noticed to go to RP5, so anything less than is okay.
All right.
So to go to R2, which is what the conditions of approval
But
as
can
written.
we change it without the property owner's request to do so? They're not requesting a duplex, they're requesting a triplex. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
They came
guess.
tonight requesting one item, and can we actually approve something different?
My answer would be yes, but I would defer to legal if you had deeper questions.
Mr. Farley?
Mike Farley, Legal Department. Yes, the Planning Commission has the authority to approve or recommend approval for a change of zone that is at a lower density than recommended. There's nothing in the code that says that it has to be with or without the applicant's approval. They already submitted the application.
What if they decide they don't want a triplex? If they don't get a triplex, they want to just make it a single-family residence?
You could still, Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Design, R2B would, you can still build a single family use is allowed in R2B.
All right, thank you. I think that took care of it. Other questions?
Yeah, so,
Commissioner
so
Jones?
that conversation didn't come up, wasn't held with the petitioner?
It's in the staff report. They know it.
Okay, so they just.
Yeah,
knew
I think
they-
for us, it's probably what happened here is this got swept up in a blanket rezoning down to R1. It may or may not have been a duplex in the past, but it's definitely been functioning as a duplex for quite some time. So we think legalizing the non-conforming duplex is the right move, not jumping up to 3. There's some parking issues and other site constraints when we add a third unit.
Gotcha, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or clarifications from staff?
The other thing to think about, sorry, Mr. Chair, if it was approved at RP5, that means somebody could tear down the building and build an apartment building there, right?
Essentially.
And this is the single-family neighborhood side of this block.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? If not, I'll stand for a motion of some kind. Commissioner Easterwood?
That would be my question is, what would the motion say if we would accept staff's recommendation for approval of a duplex, or R2, approval of the site as a duplex? But we would be, we wouldn't be accepting the petitioner's motion for approval as a triplex. So would we deny the petition and make it subject to staff's recommendation as approval for a duplex, or will we do something else?
The R1B would change it to where they could do a duplex, correct?
The R2.
Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Urban Design, the way that staff wrote the conditions of approval, condition number 1 is to rezone it to R2B. So if you agree with that, you would just make a motion to approve with staff conditions to R2B. And again, in the R2B zoning district, you can have an R1 use at those standards. So this could be converted, again, because we're not exactly sure about the history, potentially back to, if you will, a single family home as well.
So
or demolished and a brand new single family home could be built.
So we could make a motion to approve R2B and deny the petitioner's request for R.
You would make a motion to approve with staff conditions, and that would do it.
Okay, all right, so you made it easy for us. I'm making it more difficult. I will shut up and I will defer to anyone who has a better grasp of this than I do.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, then I would make a motion for approval of COZ 2024-038, subject to staff conditions.
And Just as further clarification, so if and when this motion moves forward at the Board of Commissioners, it'll be presented as R2B.
All right, and that's that's the intent of your motion, Commissioner Easterwood?
It is.
All right, thank you. Is that a second, Commissioner Schwartz?
Yes.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Roz,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Ernst,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
I have 8 to
Motion carries.
0 in favor of the motion. Is that consistent with your count?
Correct.
All right, thank you. Motion passes. This will be heard once again on January 30th at the Board of County Commissioners meeting. Thank you.
Next is a change of zone application, COZ 2024-039, Stephen Alcorn with Rosedale Apartments LLC. It's a change of zone from 41B Single Family District to R2B Two Family District for a legal non-conforming duplex at 4209 Adams Street. The following items were included as far as record for this case. The city is currently adopted zoning and subdivision regulations, the zoning map, the adopted master plan for the area, the staff report, the application, and other documents, the notice of Wyandotte Echo, and the notices to property owners. Does anyone have any contact on this case?
No,
Okay.
thank you. Mr. Alcorn, I have you queued up, ready to speak. If you would please unmute your mic, give us your name and address, and tell us what you'd like to do here.
Awesome. Hey, folks. My name is Stefan Alcorn. I am with the Rosedale Apartments Group. My address is 5510 Falmouth Road in Fairway, Kansas. My business address is 2554 West 47th Avenue, Kansas City, Kansas 66103. I'm looking to rezone addresses 4209 through 4213 Adams Street from R1B Single Family District to R2B to be 3 distinct duplex apartments. So just by way of background, I acquired these 3 buildings, which are call it ranch style duplexes, originally built in 1947 or 1950. And since then they have operated as duplex apartments. So there's 3 buildings, 6 1-bedroom apartments. And again, they've operated as duplex apartments. And all I'm looking to do with the zoning change is to ensure that the zoning matches their historical, current, and go forward use. And, you know, with the change of ownership, I'm also looking to substantially rehab these duplexes and reinvest in them, and to really just make them viable places for people to live. Again, these are existing duplex apartments with residents in them currently, and I think since we've acquired them, and our acquisition date was November 27th, the day before Thanksgiving, since we've acquired them, both neighbors, which I think it's in our neighborhood meeting report, and residents have welcomed the investment or the planned investment in the properties. And so really this change of zone is just to match, again, the historical and the current use of these properties as duplexes with what's codified.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, anyone in the audience want to speak to this case in favor or in opposition, raise your hand if you're online, or come to the microphone if you're in the chambers with us. Seeing no one, we'll close the public portion meeting, go to Director Hand, get comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Design, not too far from the previous case. This is again a change of zone from R1B to R2B for a legal non-conforming duplex. We were able to track down the history of these purpose-built duplexes. This is in the Rosedale area plan. Staff received no letters of support, no letters in opposition. There is a 2024 notice of violation for repair paint, which would be addressed by this project. Staff does recommend approval with conditions, including obtaining an environs review, as it is within the environs of the historic fire station right there at the corner of 43rd and Rainbow. some sidewalk repairs and repaving the driveway.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Director Hand? Seeing none, I'll stand for a motion. Commissioner Jones, go ahead.
Motion to approve change of zone case 2024-039, subject to staff stipulations and comments, including the additions with the environs review, the sidewalk repairs, and the repairing of the driveway.
Thank you. Change of zone application 2024-039. Motion has been made for approval by Commissioner Jones with the additional stipulations stated by Director Hand. Is that a second, Commissioner Swartz?
Yes.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion for approval? Seeing none, roll call.
Draws,
Aye.
Ward,
He's absent.
sorry, Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Easterwood,
Aye.
Ernst,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
All right, motion carries 8-0.
All right, thank you. This will be heard once again on January 30th before the Board of County Commissioners.
Okay, let's see.
Takes us to special use application 2024-061.
Oh yeah, I see. Okay, so that is special use permit application SP 2024-061, Jesus Oseguera. It's a special use permit for an event space at 735 Minnesota Avenue. It is, the following items were included as part of the record of this case. The city's currently adopted zoning and subdivision regulations, the official zoning map for the area in question, the adopted master plan for the area, the staff report attachments dated January 13th, 2025, the application and other documents, plans, pictures, and maps, the notice to the Wyandotte Echo, and the notices to property owners. Does anyone have any contact to disclose?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Is it Oseguera?
Yes, Oseguera.
Okay, great. Would you go ahead and give us your full name, please, and your address?
Yeah, my name's Jesus Oseguera. Personal address is 211 South Tremont, Kansas City, Kansas, 66101.
All right, tell us what you want to do tonight.
So I have this event space. It's 735 Minnesota Avenue. It's called 7th Street event space. It's been operating for 10 years, going on 10 years now. I bought the facility over, going on 3 years now here in August. And the special use permit expired in December. So it was still under the current person that sold me the business. So I need to apply for the new special use permit.
All right. And can you tell us about what kind of events you run out of there?
So the facility is basically for the community. So we do weddings, quinceañeras. We have a lot of local businesses that have like their Christmas parties there and stuff. We do not sell tickets or have like big live bands there. We don't sell alcohol. We're trying to stay away from that environment. So it's strictly just, family oriented events.
All right.
Community events.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, anyone in the audience want to speak to this case in favor or in opposition? Raise your hand or come to the mic. Seeing no one, we'll go to Director Hand and get his comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Design. This case was held over from the December hearing for the applicant to obtain a parking agreement, which they have. Again, as the applicant noted, this is a historic use, but it's a new operator, so we need a new special use permit and the requisite times of approval. The SUP is, again, for an event center, event space, and live entertainment. Again, he said he didn't want live entertainment, but live entertainment as defined by our code is basically like a jukebox and above, right? So any amplified noise is live entertainment. So that is the request, even though he made the distinction in his comments. This is in the downtown area plan. Staff received no letters of support, no letters of opposition. There are calls for service on this property, but nothing out of the ordinary for a use like this. Nothing too extreme, nothing too long. Staff recommends approval for 2 years with conditions, including said parking agreement.
All right, thank you. Any questions for staff? If not, I'll stand for a motion. Commissioner Strauss, go ahead.
I move to approve SP 2024-061 according to staff stipulations and comments.
Thank you. Motion for approval made by Commissioner Strauss of special use application 2024-061. I'm assuming that's a second, Commissioner Armstrong.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Strauss,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Easterwood,
Aye.
Ernst,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 8-0.
All right, thank you. This will be heard once again on January 30th before the Board of Commissioners.
So do I have to come back then?
It's advisable that you do.
Okay.
Yeah, just in case there are any questions at the Board of Commissioners meeting.
So is it approved or it's not yet 100%?
It's not yet 100%.
Okay.
But that's the January 30th meeting is the one you want to be at.
Okay.
There's your 100% there.
Okay. Thank
right.
you. Oh.
The next application is special use permit SP 2024-066, Austin Thompson with Atlas Land Consulting. It's a special use permit to operate a rodeo at 8700 Kansas Avenue. The following items were included as part of the record of this case. The city's currently adopted zoning and subdivision regulations, the official zoning map for the area in question, the currently adopted master plan for the area in question, the staff report in attachments dated January 13th, 2025, the application and other documents, plans, pictures, and maps, the notice to the Wyandotte Echo, and the notices to the property owners. Does anyone have any contacts to disclose?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Thompson, you're queued up, ready to go.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Austin Thompson, and I'm with Atlas Land Consulting, 14500 Parallel Road, Unit R, Baser, Kansas, 66007. And I'd first like to start off with, we just want to congratulate Miss Janet Parker here at Atlas Land Consulting on a, incredible career, and we just wish her nothing but the best for her next chapter in life. So congratulations, Miss Parker. But moving forward with the case, what we're requesting tonight is a 60-day holdover, and the purpose of that is we requested a 30-day holdover last meeting, and that happened to be kind of during the holidays, and we are waiting for a traffic study. And so we heard from the traffic engineers today that they could have the traffic memo or traffic study back by February 17th, and so that's why we're requesting the 60-day holdover so that we will be ready for the March meeting. Either way, we will be ready to present with or without the traffic information in March, just going forward. So we do understand that this is the limit holdover that we can reach. We'll be at our 90 days at that point, and the applicant and the owner both understand that. I can answer any questions that you guys may have.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Thompson regarding this application or the request for the holdover? All right, seeing none, anyone in the audience want to speak to this case? There is a request for a holdover to be heard again in 60 days, but if anybody came tonight to speak to this case, be happy to hear your testimony. Seeing no one, we'll go to Director Hanna, get his comment.
Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Design Staff, has no issue with the 60-day holdover.
All right, thank you. Any questions for staff? And if not, I'll stand for a motion. Commissioner Ernst. Oh, sorry, Commissioner, wait a minute. Commissioner Ernst, yes.
Motion for a 60-day holdover.
A motion made for approval of 60-day holdover of the special use application 2024-066. Is that a second, Commissioner Strauss?
It is.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Strauss,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Easterwood,
Aye.
Ernst,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 8-0.
All right, thank you. We'll see you in 60 days, Mr. Thompson.
Okay, the next application is special use permit application SP 2024-094. Tamara McConnell with Breathe Beverage is a special use permit for a drinking establishment with events at 2724 North 13th Street. Does anyone have any contacts to disclose on this application?
No.
Okay.
All right, thank you. You, Ms. McConnell?
Yes.
All right, if you would, go ahead and give me your full name and your address, please.
Good evening. My name is Tamara McConnell, address 2724 North 13th Street, Kansas City, Kansas.
And what would you like to do here?
Our proposed use for this space is a sports bar and grill. We were remanded back to you by the Board of Commissions with recommendation that we have conversations with the OCP neighborhood neighborhood group, and then also Commissioner Gail Townsend. We invited both the OCP and Commissioner Gail Townsend to our space for the meeting. They declined and opted for a Zoom meeting, which we did have. The Zoom meeting took place December the 20th with conversations and concerns in reference to parking, hours of operation, and live entertainment. We have submitted a parking plan, which they requested that though our variance didn't require parking, that they requested that we did have some parking. So we obtained a parking plan from the Northeast Economic Development Corporation to utilize the parking spaces there to the south of us with approximately 15 parking spaces. We were asked to submit our occupancy levels. However, we needed an architect to do that. And with holiday seasons, snow, we have not yet contacted or made contact with an architect, but we have reached out to several to come out and do a plan design for us to submit to the fire department so that we can get the occupancy of our space. The other concern was hours of operation, being that we are adjacent to residential homes. And we did share with them and express our concerns as far as our business hours and live entertainment being something that we only provide based off of requests or reservations. I definitely want to just limit that to Friday and Saturday only from 4:30 to 10 p.m., being that we are in a residential area. We do know that live entertainment can be anything as much as a jukebox or a DJ, but we are a sports bar and grill with a focus majorly on sports and entertaining via televisions and things of that nature. We offer an American fare, so hamburgers, chicken wings, things of that nature, along with adult beverages as well as non-alcoholic beverages. We service the community with age range from 10 to 85. So we have a wide variety of guests that come to our sports bar and grill. So we're just proposing that we're still able to operate in that manner and offer those same services.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Go ahead, Commissioner Jones.
Ms. McConnell, the 10 to 85 that you just mentioned, what was that pertaining to again?
That is going to be our customer base. So because we are a sports bar and grill, we are a family-friendly environment until about the hour of 10 p.m. when we don't see children, but we have seen children come in with their parents to watch football games, enjoy dinner. So that age range can start from anywhere from 10 years old up to the age of 85 years old, which we just celebrated one of our longtime patrons' birthday parties, and he turned 85.
And so you do what when you make the transition from the more family-friendly environment to the alcohol and things that go on later in the evening?
So we don't do anything other than there may be music played outside of just being sports on the televisions. So the DJ may turn music on, there may be dancing. We don't move any furniture. All of our booths and tables are set in place. So other than changing the atmosphere for being maybe music, that's all that changes.
So if somebody were to bring somebody that's less than drinking age, closer to the 10-year-old mark, then you just would not let them in?
That's correct. We do have security and are working directly with KCKPD to provide us off-duty police officers in the evenings now. but on those hours, after 10 p.m., we would have security at the door to do ID checks and things of that nature, and would not allow access to anyone under the age of 21.
Okay. And then also, can you confirm the hours of operation Monday through Friday?
Yes, the hours of operation are 4:30 to 1:30 a.m.
During the week?
Yes, we
1:30?
are only open Thursday through Monday. We are closed Tuesday and Wednesday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, our hours of operation are 4:30 p.m. to 1:30 a.m.
So it'd really be kind of Sunday and Thursday that you're still open to 1:30.
Yes.
Okay, so when you talked to the neighborhood group and Commissioner Townsend about that, what was their response to those hours of operation for Sunday and Thursday in particular?
They did say during the week they would not be for the hours of operation being till 1 a.m. They did tell us that.
Okay, so.
But they said that in reference to live entertainment. And again, we are a drinking establishment and our liquor license does allow us to serve up to 1 a.m. And so with that being said, we were, in our thought, it was that if we're serving alcohol and it would just be the same as if we were open with no live entertainment, we would still be, serving food and drinks because our kitchen stays open late as well.
Okay, and you're saying the liquor license allows you on the Sunday and the Thursday to still be open on those days till 1:30?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Mine are only relevant to chicken wings and hamburgers because I'm hungry, but we'll save those for later.
Definitely invite you down to enjoy one.
All right. Thank you.
I do have it.
We
So
do have another question from
Yeah,
Commissioner
because
Jones.
so how are we going to resolve the occupancy level? Because it seems like that's something that you need to know about how many people can fit in the space.
Correct. So we are working with, again, getting referrals from architects to get a design drawn up of our floor plan to submit to the Kansas City, Kansas Fire Department, in which they'll be able to tell us what our occupancy is. We reached out to the fire department and they said they did not have one on file for our business, and that was the next step that we need to take.
Okay,
So
so.
I'm
okay.
assuming we would make it contingent upon that review. The approval or
Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Design. That would be at your discretion if you wanted to wait for that. The condition as written is determined and established at occupancy limit with KCKFD, right? So as a condition of approval, they have X number of months to do that. If you wanted it to happen before approval, we could do that. The other way that staff has dealt with something like this in the past is we could let it run through the approval process and then just hold the ordinance publication until we have that number filed with KCKFD. So it wouldn't be official. But again, Ms. McConnell is operating on the expired SUP with the goodwill that they're going through the approval process. So it's not like that would stop her from continuing operation.
Okay, so it's been going on, because my other question related to that, because it seems like to me, being open, selling alcohol on Sunday and the Thursday, I consider that a weekday, and only because too, especially you're adjacent to a residential area. That part's a little bit concerning.
Mhm.
And then it sounded like you said, the meeting with the OCP
Correct.
neighborhood group, and then Commissioner Townsend.
Correct.
They had a concern about that. So did you all reconcile that? What was their recommendation with regard to the Sunday and the Thursday in particular?
Their concern were the hours. And so it was, I guess, asked if we would be considering different hours during the week. We have neighboring sport bars and lounges in our area with the same hours of operation that are located in neighborhood areas. And so our concern was if we're asked to close on Thursdays and Sundays at a specific hour because of that, is that something that is going to happen around us with neighborhood other lounges and bars?
Did you have that discussion with them?
We
So I know
did.
we try to do that too in terms of ensure equitability
Yes.
across the board.
anything else?
No, thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Any other questions for the applicant? Commissioner Straws.
I guess I could have waited on Gunner on this question, but it was more so to Ms. Karen's point. I think those hours are no different than any of the other drinking establishments that we have in Strawberry Hill or any other place. Am I correct? So they all have the same, once they get their liquor license, that's just their hours of operations they can do legally. I'm assuming. And now I know I could have waited on Gunner for that. That's more for Gunner than the applicant though.
Gunner
We'll
Hand,
just
Director of
keep-
Planning
yeah.
and Design. The limitation of hours of operation for a drinking establishment typically are, unless, again, it's the Planning Commission's discretion, you can assign whatever conditions of approval you want to a special use permit. What I would say, I think we've seen it in other similar uses, be they Strawberry Hill or whatever, is a limitation on the live entertainment hours. And so those are reflected in updated conditions here with the agreement that the live entertainment would only happen I think Friday, Saturday,
Friday,
right?
Saturday from
And-
4:30 to 10 p.m.
And at 10 p.m. I think we, at the Board of Commissioners hearing, if you guys didn't have a chance to watch that, the concern was hours of operation from OCP, but all of those would be arbitrary. They wouldn't be against state law. State law allows up to 1:30. That doesn't mean the Planning Commission couldn't impose stricter hours if you so choose, but staff didn't feel like that was something we would want to do in our conditions of approval. So we only addressed and amended hours of operation as it relates to the live entertainment use. Is that gonna pass muster with OCP? I don't know.
All right. Other questions for the applicant? All right, we're gonna move on to the public comment. Anyone want to speak to this case in favor or in opposition? Please raise your hand or come to the front. All right, go ahead and come on up front. Give me your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Saran Baker. My address is 2200 North 11th Street in Kansas City, Kansas 66104. I just want to support what Ms. McConnell is doing down there for the community. Down there, it's needed. You know, we have no sports bar and grill in our neighborhood and our meetings, and everything she has done for the community throughout over 2 years now has been supportive. And I just wanted to speak on that and support her in that behalf.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Sinetria Hampton Monk. 3224 North 109th Place, Kansas City, Kansas 66109. I am a patron of Q13 Sports Bar and Grill. I liken Q13 to none other than just like an Applebee's. If we were at Applebee's, it's just an.
Well, don't use Applebee's because they all closed down.
Exactly.
Let's pick somebody else. Let's pick somebody better that's open.
But I've grown up in this neighborhood. My grandfather, my family pastored all on Quindaro, and it is life. It's life for the community. I experienced a fire to my home. My home burned to basically down to the ground, and my family lost everything on December the 6th of 2024.
Out in Piper.
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
Out of all of the businesses that I patronize, Q13 is the one that made sure that my family ate late at night. My son, who is autistic, works at General Motors and would get off at 12 midnight. And that is where he could go and get fresh food. There are no fresh food areas in the area that would allow us to be able to do certain things. They rallied together and they've been like family to me. Even though I do live in Piper, I still come down to Q13. I eat at Sunday brunches. I eat on Thursday nights. That is my night. My children know that that's a night that I want to get away. But that 85-year-old man that they're talking about taught my 7-year-old son how to play pool, play games with him and my husband. They've had community events when kids are out trick-or-treating. They've had trunk or treat. They've opened their trunks, brought food. They fed the community, given hot dogs, and allowed even us business owners, because I have a business here in Wyandotte County, but they've allowed us business owners to come together, give us a place to network, to mingle. I remember when she was not even a business. I remember when it was just a thought in her mind. And I am a person that supports people in the community. I'm a person who, and she's very genuine with what she's doing. There may have been experiences that may have happened around, but that has happened everywhere. I have been at that location. I have been there. That's, like I said, Mondays, I go for the dollar wings. Thursday, I'm there. Friday, sometimes I'm there. I was there yesterday.
I'm glad you quit mentioning the specials, because again, you're making me hungry.
Tacos on Thursday, $2 tacos. But I am saying that to say this, and I will make this short. They have been upstanding in the community. They have been supportive of the community. They have called me every week to make sure that my family and I were okay. And so I can appreciate the genuineness of them. I will always support them. Even with the live music, when they're saying about the jukebox, that could be somebody playing a phone, but it's not disturbing because they have fed those same people that you're talking about, these neighboring residents, the people that live next door. If somebody's hungry, I've seen them give food. If somebody is at the gas stations that are around the corner, if they've come up and asked, they don't turn people away. So what I'm saying is that they welcome one, they welcome all. My grandfather always told us that love was what made the difference. And they show that by giving and supporting the people in their community. Thank you.
Thank you. You can come on up front and sit up close if you'd rather. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
How you doing?
Good.
I'm Ricky Johnson. I live at 1871 Prone Lane. I'm the guy, the entertaining part. So when I do the live stuff for the mayor, we did a 4th of July thing. They gave out free fireworks, food for the kids. I was one of the live guys playing music with the mayor. He came down. She know me too.
Okay.
He retired fireman. But I know these people. I do entertainment for them.
Okay.
So as far as all that, that's what's going on.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yes, sir. Good. I'm going to need you at the microphone so everybody can hear you.
My name is Michael Berry. My address is 7415 Armstrong. I grew up in the Northeast community, about 10 blocks from his establishment. I patronized that establishment when Mr. Leon Gaskin owned it for over 40 years. But these young people, they give away fireworks. They give away hamburger hot dogs. They're benevolent. They clean up the area. They patrol the streets and pick up trash and pop cans and bottles. And, they are compassionate. And quite frankly, they have a A1 establishment. I enjoy going there. I enjoy eating there. I enjoy the camaraderie. To be singled out, to be different than all the other establishments with residential, I think it's really unfair, especially with the spirit that they have and the way that they operate their business. And I support them. And I just would caution you guys to take a look at the whole situation. They really are trying community-wide in their community. And I think they're there to stay. And I would just want you to know that I support them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? All right, we'll go ahead and close the public portion of the meeting. We'll go to Director Hand and get his comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Design. Again, this is this case was remanded back by the Board of Commissioners at their December meeting, which again happened in January because of the holidays. This is a special use permit for a drinking establishment, live entertainment and events. While it is a historic use, again, we're operating with a new operator, so we start the clock back over with a new special use permit. Excuse me, this is in the Northeast Area Plan. Staff received before this evening no letters in support. There was opposition at the Board of Commissioners hearing. There's some older notices of violation that have all been rectified by the previous owner. Staff recommends approval for 2 years with conditions.
All right,
Actually, sorry, one more update. We just today received feedback finally from KCKPD. They did confirm on the incident reports in 2023, there were 2 shootings associated with property and another one this last September.
All right, thank you. Questions for Director Hand? Seeing none, I will stand for a motion when ready. Commissioner Schwartz,
I'll make a motion to approve SP 2024-094 based on staff's stipulations for approval.
all right, thank you. Motion for approval made by Commissioner Schwartz of special use application 2024-094. Is that a second, Commissioner Strauss?
It is.
All right, thank you. Is there any discussion? Do you need any clarification? Okay. Seeing none, roll call.
Strauss,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Easterwood,
Aye.
Ernst,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 8-0.
All right, thank you. This will be heard once again on January 30th before the Board of Commissioners. Okay, good luck. Thank you.
The next application is special use permit application, SP 2024-095, Ruben Rosales. It's a renewal of a special use permit, for a short-term rental at 2924 Eaton Street. The following items were included as a part of the record for this case. It is the city's currently adopted zoning and subdivision regulations, the official zoning map for the area, the master plan for the area, the staff report and attachments dated January 13th, 2025, the application and other documents, plans, pictures, and maps, the notice in the Wyandotte Echo, and the notices to the property owners. Does anyone have any contact to disclose?
No,
No? Okay.
thank you. Mr. Rosales, are you in the audience? Ruben Rosales. Okay, Rose, if we could go ahead, please, and move this to the bottom of our agenda, we'll give them a little bit more time and we'll go ahead and move on to the next case.
The next one is special use permit application SP 2024-097, Miriam Marquez with Ruiz Mechanics. It is a special use permit for an auto body shop at 824 South 7th Street. The following items were included as part of the record for this case. The current city's currently adopted zoning and subdivision regulations, the zoning map in the area, the master plan for the area, the staff report and attachments dated January 13th, 2025, the application and other documents, plans, pictures, the notice in the Wyandotte Echo, and the notices to the property owners. Does anyone have any contact to disclose for this application?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. Ms. Marquez?
Yes, my name is Marian Marquez. That address is 824 South 7th Street, Traffic Way, Kansas City, Kansas, 66105, the zip code. My name is Marian Marquez, and I'm the owner of Ruiz Mechanic Shop. I lived in the Wyandotte County for almost 20 years. I have a wonderful family and a great husband. I have done mechanic work on my own cars, and I found my passion to work on mechanics, and I wanted to open a mechanic shop. For the reason I'm here. My apologies for my accent.
That's okay.
This location is perfect place for make these dreams come true. Have a 5 over the head doors with area, everything equipment to become a mechanic shop. We'll be offering different types of services for passengers type vehicles. Those services include not limited to oil changes, brake changes, motor changes, etc. Our mechanics are training to practice eco-friendly service, so that will be not disturbing to the environment surrounding the community. Our mechanic shop is also family-owned business and we are bilingual, which makes us special and unique. We also have a waiting room with amenities, which means on the time of you waiting for your repair, you will be treated with great hospitality. On top of that, we are utilizing technology and schedule tracking updated on the vehicles they are being repaired. Our hours of operations will be Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., not including the holidays. We might change depending on our certain circumstances. We also want to make and emphasize this mechanic shop will be a great addition to the community and local business around. And I would like to get to know everyone and hopefully someday partner with local shops and business around the community. Can also include having business cards on our office, helping regarding local events and sponsorships. Or business, we create valuable opportunities of work and expand the position available once we are up and running. We also take the time to address some potential concerns regarding the risk mechanic shop. As the first to the address traffic and parking, we have the whole lot will be used for customers only. We will not be serving cars outside of the parking lot, or we only gonna use the bay areas. Will be a place for inside or outside services area. For the protection of both customers and ourselves will be cameras 24/7. And finally, we'd like to discuss the commitment to deliver high quality service and the steps taken to minimize the environmental impact. We'll be looking for skilled technicians to have the variety of the experience working on the mechanic shop. And the team, we also qualify for the work passenger type vehicles. We are committed to training those technicians and protocols, hazard procedures, and endure the well-being and protection of the environment. We also updated the technology and repair techniques to ensure the customer receive the best possible service.
Okay, thank you. So you're going to have 5 bays, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, and you're not going to have any storage of any vehicles outside the property?
No, we got 19 parking lots.
Well, I mean,
for
are you going to have disabled vehicles parked outside of the
No.
structure? So
No.
the disabled cars will be inside?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any additional questions? All right. We'll go to the audience. Anyone in the audience want to speak to this case in favor or in opposition, please come forward or raise your hand. Seeing no one, we'll go to Director Hand and get his comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Urban Design. Again, this case was held over from the prior month. This is again, a special use permit for an auto body and mechanic shop. This is in the Armourdale area plan. Staff received no letters of support, no letters in opposition. There are some older notices of violation and some crime reports due to its vacancy that would potentially be addressed by this proposed project. Staff does recommend denial as we are concerned about the overflow and spillover of this use. Additionally, the applicant is not willing to add a fence to separate the property and the use from adjacent uses. If you're familiar with this part of Armourdale, this auto repair shop's parking lot kind of flows right into the car wash of Sinclair, which sort of flows right into the Sinclair gas station. Also, you can kind of see it here. There's a weird previous vacation that has occurred. So that alleyway kind of isn't an alleyway. Technically, we're worried about overflow to the rear as well. Again, it's a similar, let's say similar use to the rear, but it's also abutting single-family zone parcels. The other thing that we would note is the Armourdale area plan specifically notes that these types of uses should be not prohibited, but should be discouraged on main corridors, including 7th Street.
We talking with James Mallow. And
We do have conditions of approval if need be.
yeah, and then he want.
Okay, hang on just a minute. Are there any questions for staff? Okay, seeing that, did you have one? I'll let you make one other comment, but normally I don't, but do you have something else you wanted to say?
Yeah, we are in the position that we want to do everything we need to do to make this work. We are aware about the fence, that we are already working on it with the winter and all that we haven't done, but we are willing to do all the improvements that need to be done in that building. The other thing you have to have in consideration is the only building is vacant on that area, which is close to the crossroads, and
Okay.
that area is using for a lot of criminal
Okay,
activities. So we wanna rehab all that.
I understand. Okay. Any other questions of Director Hand? Go ahead, Commissioner Jones.
So Ms. Marquez, using the fence that Director Hand talked about as an example, when you say you want to do everything that you can to kind of comply with the stipulations that staff has put forth, what was your thought on when Director Hand is talking about the fence being there?
Yeah.
My name is Monty Calsum, and we
Give
are
me your address, please, for the record.
824 South 7th Street, Traffic Way. We are willing to do whatever it takes, and me and James, we have discussed it. If we need to do a fence, we're willing to do a fence. Whatever it takes, we will do. All we need to give us just point from A to Z, and all will be done the way exactly that you guys requested us to do. It does really mean a lot to us to go ahead and take care of this and open it. So whatever you guys gonna put regulation on us, we will agree without asking or hesitating or saying why this way. We really need to make it happen. So whatever, if we have to have a fence, just let us know from where to where, and we will make it happen. The type of fence, whatever needs to be done, we will make it happen.
All right. Commissioner Jones?
So I would say, thank you for those comments and your willingness to do that. But in looking at the staff report, just so you know, and I'm sure you got this too, the applicant did not adequately respond to or acknowledge staff comments. And so that's good that you're saying that now. So I don't know if a holdover be the situation to go back and try to rectify the things that staff believes you need to do still, like the fence. But that would be good, and that would be my response to, some additional time to get these things worked out. Whatever else beyond the fence.
Yeah, me and James, and he's right there in the meeting, we've talked on the phone a few times, and he told me do not do anything till we go ahead and do the approval. But as I mentioned to him, I'm willing to do every single thing, no hesitation. We need to make it happen. So whatever they requested, we will make it happen.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Director Hand, is this something that warrants a holdover, or I see that you have conditions, but they're lengthy, and do you think what would be your recommendation? I agree with
Yeah, because
Commissioner
they weren't
Jones.
adequately responding.
I want to make sure they understand what is going to be required.
Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Design. As commissioners are aware, this use is pretty restrictive, has high standards in the code as it was adopted by the Board of Commissioners. I believe it was 2015. For these future uses, I think we didn't understand that there would be an all or or nothing from the applicant that they would want to move forward and do whatever they could. That's not how we understood it, so maybe we missed something. So for these uses, because they are a high propensity to become a nuisance, as evidenced all over our community, which is why the Board of Commissioners originally updated their code for these particular uses, I would recommend that we hold over the 30 days so we can get a site plan that we can hold the applicant to. And again, what we've typically done for these uses in the past is if one of those standards is too much to begin with, we have been willing to work with them on a phased approach over 2, then 5, then 10, or 2 and 2, depending on how things go that first 2 years. So as it's written right now, at least we maybe misunderstood, which is a possibility, that they didn't want to, for instance, build the fence. So if we got that wrong, we got that wrong, but I would prefer to put that into a site plan that we could hold them to, as opposed to either conditions or just, we'll do whatever you say kind of thing. So I think we need to get a plan to firm this up. I think we also probably need elevations, because we're talking about, a commercial design guideline standard fence, which is the 32 feet on center masonry columns. I mean, we're talking about the whole kit and caboodle. If you're familiar with the SUP we did just up 7th and down Kansas Avenue, we held them to pretty high standards as well, and I think we would want to hold them to those as well. So if I'm hearing sentiment from the Planning Commission that we'll be willing to you'd be willing to potentially move forward with recommended condition of approval if we were to work all of the standards out as per the code, staff would want to make sure those standards were reflected in a site plan accordingly. And they are not currently. So I would recommend a holdover.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Director Hand? Commissioner Ernst?
No questions. I'm ready for a holdover. The time comes.
All right, do you understand what we're doing is we're going to try to hold this over for 30 days so that you can work with staff and come up with a plan that we can get approved the next time we come in?
What we are confusing is that we're trying to come up with a plan, but they keep saying that we don't have a specific time.
They told us do not come up with nothing till we pass.
Well, I think
And that's why we didn't. We were gonna, the trees, we already got the spot for them.
And I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to, so in order so we can move on, I think what we want to do is we want to get some clarification, because I think there's some miscommunication. I understand what you're saying, but I think there might have been some misinformation. So we want to hold this over for 30 days so we can get that plan worked out, so that you know what's going to be expected of you to get it done. I mean, rather than just saying you'll do whatever, we want to find out what is that going to take, and then let's get it down in writing so you know, and then what we'll know, and that way we can get you on your way. Okay? All right, so.
Just as a quick point of order, submission deadline for February is already passed, so we should probably push it to March if they're gonna have to.
So 60.
I mean, the stuff that code requires basically requires an architect or some level of designer to produce exhibits, which they don't have. Just as a point of clarification for the applicants, I'm not sure, I wasn't at the meeting, but I can guarantee our staff did not say, don't do these things. They said, don't build anything on the site until you get your approval. That's probably more clear, not that you don't have to do any of those standards. So I think something was lost in that conversation. So,
And that's what we want to get worked out.
Misunderstanding.
well, I think it's a misunderstanding on both sides. It's
Okay, Mr. Ernst, are you okay with the 60-day holdover?
Absolutely, sir.
All right, thank you. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Commissioner Jones has the second. Any discussion on a 60-day holdover for the applicants to work together with planning staff to come up with a plan? Seeing none, roll call.
Ross,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Easterwood,
Aye.
Ernst,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0.
All right, thank you. So get with staff and with James again, and we'll get this worked out for you, or we'll
Thank you.
work towards it, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next application is a special use permit SP 2024-105 for Brandon Thompson. It is a special use permit for a short-term rental at 6429 Leavenworth Road. The following items were included in part of the record of this case. The city's currently adopted zoning and subdivision regulations, the official zoning map for the area, the currently adopted master plan for the area in question, the staff report and attachments dated January 13th, 2025, the application and other documents, plans, pictures, and maps submitted by the applicant, the notice in the Wyandotte Echo, and the notices to the property owners. Does anyone have any contact to disclose on this application?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Thompson, Brandon Thompson. Are you in the audience? Brandon Thompson. Okay, I have Maya, whose hand is up. Maya, are you representing Mr. Thompson in this application?
Hello. Yes. That is the wrong screen name. This is Brandon Thompson. My apologies.
That's all right. Give me your name and address, please.
Absolutely. Brandon Thompson, 6429 Leavenworth Road, Kansas City, Kansas.
All right, tell us what you'd like to do.
Yeah, so thank you for hearing my case. This is our first short-term rental here. We were not really familiar with the process here. We are now, and we're asking that you guys approve our final application here. We've submitted everything successfully. We have our inspections, neighborhood meeting, notices sent out, and also our Kansas City lodging license has been approved. And we're looking to move forward with the final stages of this approval.
All right, thank you. And how many guests are you wanting to allow?
This location, we will allow up to 9 at this location. Mm-hmm.
Okay, 9 guests?
Yes.
How much parking do you have for how many folks?
So that is actually part of what I'd like to discuss as well. So this is a pretty this is one of the only homes that has 2 driveways. There's an upper and a lower driveway. So there's plenty of parking, I would say, for in excess of 10 cars. One of the stipulations I know that the city required of us was to comply with the approach, the UG standards of the approach. Currently, it's on the lower driveway, which is, we use it for overflow. It's not the primary driveway. We use it for overflow. It's asphalt. The majority of this neighborhood is really similar, set up the same. Only myself on the corner and my neighbor adjacent has the concrete sort of approach that they, requested as or submitted as a request. Again, the primary driveway that we plan on using for this, it was actually replaced by the city with a lot of the work being done there on Leavenworth Road on the corner. Again, coming through, they kind of tore up a driveway and replaced it. But there's plenty of parking, to answer your question.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to the audience. Anyone want to speak on this case? Please come forward to the microphone or raise your hand if you're online. I'm sorry, Commissioner Ernst?
A little slow on the button, Jeff.
All right.
Again, the number of maximum occupants, because there are different numbers listed in the pages that we got. So what's the total number?
So let's see here. So with I have the application here. It looks like the city will allow, I don't remember the number, but we were asked to apply for a lodging license that would allow up to, and I'm looking at it here. Let's see here. It says let's see here. 1 to 9 rooms is what they will allow up to. So this one actually will allow up to 12 guests, this application here. And the house is 5 bedrooms, 4 bath. So with additional rooms and that sort of thing, couches in the living rooms and that sort of thing. So I think that might be what you're referring to. Is that correct?
I'm asking what number you're going to use.
So let's go with a maximum of 12.
Okay. your response to question 12 about guest manuals was all special events must receive management approval before booking. What special events, since this is supposed to be an Airbnb type situation?
Gotcha. So special events really include what we've noticed. We have 2 other Airbnbs on the Missouri side. What we've noticed when you sort of just allow these doors sort of open, people will come and throw birthday parties, bachelor parties, and without the clear understanding of what needs to be approved before. And so us as management, we like to get those details up front because really anything can sort of slide under the door, if you will. And so we put that as a blanket, we put that out there as a blanket to cover those things so we know about it before it happens. So it is or isn't approved. Because a lot of times what happens is you may have 4 people book a house, but more people show up. And then once we inquire about that, and we've never had any complaints, we handle our situations very well. But the response almost unanimously is always, we're having this special event, and it ranges from A to Z. So, as a sort of catch-all to sort of catch that, that's what that refers to.
Okay.
All right, Commissioner Schwartz.
Have you had anybody that stayed since you've been in operation since March? Have you had any big parties there?
No. We've had a probably the biggest thing we had a draft party, and there was a bunch of adults that were once high school kids. They got together and they wanted to sort of get together and sort of have some fun downtown KC. But that was probably the biggest thing there. We don't allow those sort of things.
All right, thank you. Anything else? Okay, anyone in the audience want to speak to this case in favor or in opposition? Raise your hand or come forward. Seeing none, we'll go to Director Hand to get his comment.
Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Urban Design. Again, this is a short-term rental for a special use permit for a short-term rental, non-owner occupied. This is in the planned KCK area, sort of North Midtown, if you will. Staff received no letters of support, no letters in opposition. There are some older notices of violation which will be rectified by the proposed project. Staff does recommend approval for 1 year with conditions, with a maximum of 11 people on site, 5 cars off street. I'll address some of the comments that I heard through this meeting. The way that we calculate the maximum occupants is based on bedrooms. So there's 5 bedrooms. You get 2 per bedroom plus 1 person on a couch. That's 11. Any number over 7, 8 or above, requires a state lodging license, which they've obtained. So we're good there. The other thing I would note is this section of Leavenworth Road, right? Is that correct? Yeah, sorry. This section of Leavenworth Road has a rolling concrete curb. As such, it must have a concrete apron for your driveway. This one currently only has asphalt. So the concrete apron basically up to your property line. The driveway extends into the public right-of-way, but that apron must be concrete. The rest of it needs to be an improved surface, either concrete or asphalt. So that's clarification on that one. The other clarification is parties are expressly prohibited in short-term rentals as per our ordinance. You cannot have parties. In fact, you are required to say on your listing and in your manual at the location, no parties.
Gotcha.
All right, any questions for Director Hand? Commissioner Beth?
How was this brought to our attention? Has it been operating in one of them that has been caught?
Good question. This did not receive a notice of violation. We did not pick it up through zoning enforcement. This is the applicant coming in from the cold, trying to do the right thing.
Other questions? Seeing none, I'll stand for a motion when ready. Commissioner Jones, go ahead.
Motion to approve special use permit 2024-105, subject to staff stipulations and comments, and just reiterating that no parties are allowed, and the fact that the petitioner needs a concrete apron they're going to have to comply with.
All right. And 11 and 5.
Yes, yes. And then the 11 person occupancy and then 5 parking spaces.
All right, thank you. Motion for approval made by Commissioner Jones of special use application 2024-105 with the added stipulations made by Commissioner Jones regarding occupancy, no more than 11 people, no more than 5 off-street parking, and the driveway apron, and no parties for 1 year. All right, is that a second, Commissioner Schwartz?
Yes.
Thank you. Any discussion?
And just one final thing. So thank you for clarification. One final thing, just on the driveway. When I was speaking to, I don't have my notes here, the engineer department that initially told us about this, because of weather and that sort of thing, they said that would need to be complete within that 12 months for renewal. Is that still the ideal timeline that's allowed for us to make such improvements?
Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Design. The code requires all conditions of approval be met within 6 months of approval. The real
Okay.
test is when you come back for renewal, if it hasn't been done, that will reflect poorly on a renewal.
I understood. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any further questions or clarifications needed? Seeing none, roll call.
Straws,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Easterwood,
Aye.
Ernst,
Nay.
Jones,
Aye.
Mueller,
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
Okay. 7-1. Motion approved.
All right, thank you. This will be heard once again on January 30th at 7 p.m. before the Board of County Commissioners.
Okay. The next application is special use permit, SP 2024-108. It is a special use permit for an earthen fill at 732 North 57th Street. Does anyone have any contact to disclose on this application?
No,
Okay.
thank you. I have Carla registered to speak. Carla, are you representing the applicant? Carla,
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can now. Go ahead and give us your name, please, and address.
My name is Carla Hussey. I'm at 732 North 57th Street in Kansas City, Kansas.
Okay, tell us what you'd like to do.
We would like to fill a portion of our property. It's less than 3/4 of an acre and regrade it to make it just more usable land. At this point, it's not very usable.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, I'm speaking, of course, for Jason, who is out of the country right now. So I've reviewed his submittals, and so hopefully I can answer all your questions.
All right, thank you. Questions for the applicant? Seeing none, we'll go to the audience. Anyone in the audience want to speak to this case? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion of the meeting. We'll go to Director Hand and get his comment.
Name is Chair Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Design. Again, this is a special use permit for fill. There was a previous SUP for fill at this location that expired a few months ago, so you could argue this is essentially a continuation of that previous approval. This is in the planned KCK area, Midtown neighborhood. Staff received no letters of support, no letters of opposition. There are no notices of violation. Staff recommends approval for 1 year with conditions, namely, don't touch the floodplain.
All right. Thank you.
Understood.
Any questions for Director Hand? Seeing none, I'll stand for a motion when ready.
Ready.
I got Commissioner Strauss. I'm sorry, I beat you to it. Commissioner Strauss, go ahead.
I move to approve SP 2024-108 according to staff stipulations and comments.
All right, thank you. Motion for approval made of SP 2024-018 by Commissioner Strauss. Is that a second, Commissioner Armstrong?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Straws,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Easterwood,
Aye.
Ernst,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
Okay. Motion approved 8-0.
All right, thank you. This will be heard once again on January 30th at 7 PM before the Board of County Commissioners.
Okay. The next application is SP 2024-109 Todd Huffman with Denton Detail Clinic. It's a special use permit for auto repair and detailing at 5015 Gibbs Road. Does anyone have any contact to disclose on this application?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Huffman,
Yeah.
go ahead and give us your full name and address, please.
Todd Huffman, 5015 Gibbs Road, Kansas City, Kansas, 66106.
Okay.
I own and operate the Denton Detail Clinic. We've been in Overland Park, Kansas for almost 30 years. We work with families, school districts, police departments. We've been blessed to have very good following of customers. In 2017, I had an opportunity to buy a property in Kansas City, Kansas that had been vacant for 10 to 15 years. We purchased the property. In 2018, I'd never been involved in a special use permit or any of that, so I hired counsel, Posanelli, to represent me for the special use permit. In 2018, staff recommendations, we put about 150,000 in the property. We were granted the special use permit. In 2020, we filed for another special use permit. We actually requested a 5-year, but was only granted a 2-year. I was unaware of that until I had called the city for something else and was told that you need to get a special use permit, which I think was in October or November. I immediately filed the application to redo it. Our property, we have worked very hard to comply with the special use permit. Our property is used, the parking lot is used a lot. We struggle with graffiti. We file the police reports when we get graffiti on the building, is what they tell us to do. And there's trash left on the property back and forth that we also file police reports on. We worked very hard to do the compliances, the staff recommendations, and we've kept the property up. And we're just looking for a 2-year special use permit. We would like longer, but again, I was very unaware that we didn't have a special use permit. So.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, thank you.
Are there any questions for the applicant? So you're currently operating out of that location now, correct?
Yeah.
What's the condition of the parking lot in terms of the asphalt?
We probably need to, in 2018, we did some patch repair. Our property gets used so much by city trucks, BPU, school buses park there every day. And you want to work with people as much as you can. I don't want to argue about little things like that.
Sure.
So it gets used a lot. The thing that we struggle with is when people leave trash on the property. I'm supposed to call and file a report. It's not us leaving our trash can out. We don't do that. So there's been some struggles that we try to work with everybody. So.
But as far as potholes, things like that?
Yeah, we need to probably do about 3 or 4 areas of patchwork.
Okay. All right. That was my only concern in reviewing the property.
The property where, employees park, we probably need to redo that again.
All right.
They're still there, but.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Ernst.
I'm struggling with one of your answers, and that's regarding the trash. You say that was because a third party dropped a dumpster and left it there on your lot.
Yes, sir.
How long a time would you say it was there?
I don't know exactly how long. I'm at the Overland Park location, but I immediately called the number on the dumpster. That number went to a customer I think in Harrisonville, who had sold that company to, I think it was GFL. So we were able to, through the process of multiple phone calls, find out who it was and get him to pick it up.
I think it was there for a really long time. I think the grocery cart full of trash bags was there for a really long time. And I'm really shocked that you're saying you didn't know about it. You get it taken care of as fast as you can, given the length of time that I saw the dumpster setting out up there. I just don't understand how you could leave that on your property. It was an eyesore in the neighborhood. And you
Sir,
left it there on your property for all the neighbors to enjoy, I guess, for a really long time. I have pictures dating back, so I could probably give you a better time span of how long the container was there.
well, I'm not sure. I am aware because I do go back and forth, but I immediately called for that company to pick it up. Who do you call to pick up a dumpster if it's not the company that it's under? It was not our dumpster. So I'm not sure. We did try. I had my secretary call multiple times. I tried to call multiple times. The company was sold, and it was sold to GFL or GTL, one of the two. And now it has been picked up. The cart was a homeless man that occasionally slept on the sidewalk. What do you do? I mean, I'd get him water and stuff but didn't know what else to do. So his family came and picked him up and they left it there.
Full of trash bags.
Excuse me?
Full of trash bags?
No, the trash bags were put after it was left there. And again, sir, now we have Amanda that we need to call with the city to immediately address those problems. We've also on the backside of the property had somebody put a mattress. Am I supposed to pick that up, or I call the city immediately and do it? So.
I'm not here to argue with you about it.
No,
You do what you think is right.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I wasn't either.
All right, any other questions? Now, is my understanding you've sold the Overland Park location or the south location? This
We
is
have
primary?
not yet.
Okay.
We are.
So you
trying
have two
to,
locations. All right. And is this one monitored or worked at? I mean, is it a regular location that's open on a daily basis? So there are
Overland Park
employees?
is, and I'm there. Yes.
I'm talking about Gibbs.
Yes.
All right. So
And I go
there
back
is
and forth.
staff that monitor future shopping carts, mattresses, dumpsters, anything else that's going to be.
And
there.
I will be there more. Yes.
Okay. All right. A little bit faster response.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. Any further questions before we move on to public? Seeing none, we'll go to the public. Anyone want to speak to this case in favor or in opposition? Please come forward. Seeing no one, we'll go to Director Hannah, get his comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Design. Again, this is a special use permit for an auto body shop. Again, as the applicant noted, the previous SUP had expired in a time frame by which this should be recognized. Although it's a continuation of the historic use, it is a brand new SUP, and so therefore it restarts the clock on SUPs, which only allows for 2 the first time, 5 the second time, 10 the third time, at the Planning Commission's discretion. This is in the Plan KCK Turner neighborhood. Staff had received no letters in support, no letters in opposition. There is a notice of violation on the property for operating a use without a special use permit, which is why the applicant's here today to rectify that issue. Staff recommends approval for 2 years with conditions. Those include restriping the parking lot for employee parking, as well as replanting all the required landscape, which has died. So those are all existing conditions from that old SUP that we just carried over. We haven't added any, but we noticed in our site visit that the parking striping had faded, so you should probably redo that. And then some of your trees died, so you should probably replant those. And that's the point we sort of make. There is no condition currently for any repairing of the rest of the parking lot. And so if the Planning Commission wanted to add that, they would have to do that by motion.
All right. Thank you. Questions for staff?
Question.
Commissioner Beth, go ahead.
Yeah, you said there's no conditions for repairing the parking lot.
Correct.
And the picture I'm looking at, is that kind of reflective of what it is now?
Yeah, there's a lot of holes and patches. Yep.
Yeah, it's not very appealing to begin with or functional. Okay. But we can make that as a condition of approval?
If you so choose, yes.
All right. Thank you. Any further questions for staff? If not, I will stand for a motion. Commissioner Schwartz.
Yes, I make a motion to approve. Sorry, I'm trying to pull it up again. I have the documents in front of me. SP 2024-109, based on the conditions and stipulations in the staff report, as well as adding in repairing any significant damage to the parking lot, including potholes.
All right. Were the other conditions in there regarding striping, that kind of thing?
Yes, those
All right,
were,
thank
those
you.
are in there.
All right, so motion for approval made by Commissioner Schwartz of special use application 2024-109, subject to all staff stipulations in addition to repair of any and all potholes.
Potholes.
Potholes in the parking lot, as we
Mhm.
see now. All right, is there a second? Commissioner Easterwood, is that your second?
Yes.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Draws,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Nay.
do you say nay?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. Easterwood,
Aye.
Ernst,
Nay.
Jones,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Schwartz,
Aye.
I have 6 in favor, 2 against. Is that consistent with your count?
yep.
All right, motion passes. This will be heard once again on January 30th before the Board of County Commissioners. All right, thank you.
Okay, should we go back to the one that we skipped earlier, the SP 2024-95?
We still have the plat. Is that the last item before we do that?
Yeah, should we go through all the plats that,
Yeah,
or
let's go ahead and do that.
anything else?
We pushed it to the very end, so we'll go ahead and do
Okay.
that. Come back.
All right,
We'll come back
sounds
to,
good.
I guess we just have the one to come back to.
Yeah,
Yes.
so the next one will be, plat 2024-36, Austin Thompson. It's a preliminary and final plat to create 2 lots at, 6801 Woodend Avenue. The following items are included as part of the record for this case: the adopted zoning and subdivision regulations, the official zoning map for the area, the currently adopted master plan for the area, the staff report and attachments dated January 13th, 2025, the application and other documents, plans, pictures, and maps submitted by the applicant, the notice to the Wyandotte Echo, and the notices to the property owners. Does anyone have any contact to disclose on this application?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Who, are you presenting the
I'm
application? or is Mr.
Jeremiah
Thompson?
Rogers, Citywide Trees. That's, resident of 6700 County Line
He's in
Road.
opposition.
Okay, we'll call you in just a minute. We need to hear from the
Oh,
applicant
okay.
first. All right. Mr. Thompson, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Austin Thompson, and I'm with Atlas Land Consulting, 14500 Parallel Road, Unit R, Baser, Kansas, 66007. If you remember, this case was held over from last month due to a possible boundary dispute. We did a little bit more digging on our side, just of what we could, and we still got the same results as we had last month. I know that the owner and his grandson also did some digging with their lawyer, and they kind of got the same answer as we did. So I believe Mr. Rogers, Jack Rogers, is there, and he was going to kind of give a history of the property. So I was going to ask if he could come up and speak and give a brief history of the property for himself.
All right. I'm sorry, your name is Mr. Rogers, is that correct? All right. When you come to the mic, give me your name and address, please.
Joe Rogers, 6700 County Line Road, Kansas City, Kansas. What else was that?
Just tell us what you want to do here and,
Okay,
and see if you can provide some clarification on the ownership dispute.
Myself and my friend Bill Carmody own this property together. We've owned it since 1983, I believe. I have the deed in my hand. And we were going to sell a part of it to my grandson. And that part will be divided into 2 chunks. And someone here wants to stop that sale, and it was held over and was said that we needed to prove who owns the property. As I said, I have that information in my hand. That's about all I can say.
All right, so you are the owner or part owner
I am
of the
the owner
property?
myself,
How long-
50-50, myself and Bill Carmody. And that's also in this paperwork.
And you said last name is Carmody?
Yes,
And he is not here tonight?
he's not here.
All right, that's fine. But you two are the sole owners of the entire property?
That's correct.
All right, thank you. Anything else you wanted to add?
No.
All right, thank you. Ma'am, did you have anything or you? All right. Mr. Thompson, going back to you, anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, so you're here to get the approval of the final plat to create the two lots, correct?
Correct, yes.
All right, and you've uncovered nothing that contradicts what Mr. Rogers just said regarding ownership, correct?
Correct.
All right, thank you. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Anyone that want to speak to this case in favor or in opposition, please come forward. Yes, sir.
Jeremiah Rogers, 6700 County Line Road, Kansas City, Kansas, 66106. In 1962, Citywide Tree Service and the 80 acres was started by Willard West. There are two parcels. There were at that time was one owner. 6801 Wood End is one parcel, 6700 is the other parcel. There's no division other than an easement in there. In 1980 of March, Joe, my father, and Bill Carmody bought the land from Willard West. These two parties owned the two parcels of undivided land, 50-50 on both parcels. As it were, it ended up being 75 acres, and then the Black Swan. So now there's 62 acres considered in the city. They paid $4,000 an acre. Bill paid $150,000. Joe paid $150,000, and the interest was the rent of the house since Joe lived there. 1995, I took over the business, and my dad had to take care of his Alzheimer's dad down in Nevada, Missouri. So in the presence of the business came with the land, and then I took over the business, and then I took over the land payments. So I made the payments from 1995 before this was even unified government until 2013 when it was paid off. This was all in a contract for deed, so none of the land was put into our name until 2013, even though we lived there and were making, because it was a contract for deed. It was a private loan. So Joe has 1/2 of one interest, and Bill had 1/2 of one interest. And when I took over the payments, I took over my dad's 1/2 of his interest, with the understanding that he got to live there for forever. I was going to allow him to live there, even though I took it over. And I was to split 1/2 of my interest, which would be a quarter. I was supposed to keep my quarter of the 62 acres, 18 acres, and give my sister 18 acres. And to buy out Bill Carmody, which we've had a deal, but he's 93 years old. So when we've had a deal, a verbal agreement since before the pandemic. And then during the pandemic, he chose not to, he didn't want to sell it out to me. I've had a business license to run my business at but it's located at 6700. This parcel where they're going to put that goes right through the middle of my operation that I have a business list. So I went ahead and got an affidavit of equitable interest on 6801 and on 6700 County Line Road to be able to operate and use the land. So these are my two filed affidavit of interests, May 24, August 24. So I believe that this should be continued due to the overwhelming evidence that I have documented.
You're saying May 24 and August?
Of 2024, or my dated affidavits of equitable interest of
So
my
your
ownership.
Your affidavits of equitable interest were not filed for what, 15, 20 years after you?
Because I thought in 2013, when they took.
Okay, I'm gonna make this real simple, okay? That's a civil matter. It's not a planning
That's
and
why I
zoning.
want a continuance on this last matter.
It has nothing to do with this. Your civil matter has nothing to do with this. So what
Okay.
we're gonna deal with is a planning and zoning issue.
Okay.
And you can do whatever you need to do with your civil matter involving your family members, whoever else you have a dispute over title.
Thank
We're
you.
going to handle planning and zoning tonight. That's all I really need to hear, because what you're talking about has nothing to do with any of the proceedings that are going here tonight.
Even though I have an affidavit of equitable.
I don't care what you have. It has nothing to do with what we're here tonight.
But the division of the.
It has nothing to do with what we're here tonight. I'll keep saying it until you sit down.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Any questions? We're going to close the public portion of the meeting. We'll go to Director Hand and get his comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Urban Design, excuse me. This again was held over from the December meeting. This is a plat for 2 lots. This is in the Plan KCK area, Turner neighborhood. Staff received no letters in support. We did have opposition. There are no notices of violation. Staff recommends approval with conditions.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Seeing none, I will stand for a motion when ready. Commissioner Strauss, go ahead.
As with the documentation in front of us for plat 2024-36, I recommend approval according to staff stipulations and comments.
All right, motion made for approval of plat 2024-036 made by Commissioner Strauss. Is that a second, Commissioner Ernst?
Yes, sir, just slow as usual.
All right, thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Strauss,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Easterwood,
Aye.
Ernst,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries 8-0.
Okay, this case will be heard one more time for the board. No, it will not. I'm sorry. It will not be heard. That's it. So this case has been approved. All right. And that if there's any civil matter, you need to work that out in the courts. All right. Thank you.
Now we're going to go back to the special use permit application, SP 2024-095, Ruben Rosales. It's a renewal of a special use permit for a short-term rental at 2924 Eaton Street.
All right.
Did anyone have any contacts to disclose in this application?
No.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Rosales, Ruben Rosales. Did you want to go ahead and report? Go ahead, Director Hand.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Gunnar Hand, Director of Planning and Design. This is a short-term, special use permit for a short-term rental renewal. Would be the second approval, first renewal. This is in the Rosedale area plan. Staff had received no letters of support, no letters of opposition. There are some older notices of violation from 2016, all of which have been resolved. Staff recommends denial of this case due to non-compliance and non-responsiveness of the applicant.
All right. Any questions for Director Hand? Is there anyone that came tonight to speak to this case in favor or in opposition? Please raise your hand or come to the microphone. All right, seeing none, we've already heard from Director Hand. If there's no questions, I will stand for a motion. Go ahead, Commissioner Jones.
Motion to deny special use permit number 2024-095 based on the non-responsiveness of the applicant.
All right, thank you. Motion for denial made by Commissioner Jones of special use application 2024-095 due to no communication from the applicant or inaction by the applicant. Is that a second, Commissioner Schwartz?
Yes.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Ross,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Easterwood,
Aye.
Ernst,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Moeller,
Aye.
Schwartz.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. This will be heard once again on January 30th before the Board of Commissioners. And we have one last item. There's no further cases here, but we do have elections for chair and vice chair of planning and zoning. So I will now open it up for nominations for chair.
I nominate Jeff Carson as chair.
Thank you. Are there other nominations? Commissioner Ernst?
No, sir, just a second.
All right. Commissioner Easterwood, did you have anyone?
Nope, that was the second also.
All right, thank you. I will close nominations if there are no other ones. All those in favor of dealing with me for another year, raise your hand or give me the
verbal
thumbs down,
aye.
however you want to do it.
Aye.
All right. Appears it was a close vote. Now we need a nomination for a vice chair. Commissioner Easterwood, you have your hand up.
Yes, I nominate Karen Jones.
Karen, will you accept that nomination?
I will.
All right, thank you. Any further nominations?
It's just a
Okay.
second.
All right, seeing no further nominations, all nominations are closed. All those in favor, wave at me.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Wave at me. All right, appears to be unanimous. Congratulations, Karen. Thank you. Anything else anybody would like to add before we cut everybody off? I'm gonna wave to Janet.
Love you, Janet.
Yes, we do. Yes,
Hi,
we do.
Janet.
Yes.
Standing
50
ovation.
years. I just can't get over 50
I
years.
know.
I know. It's amazing.
Commissioner Best said he did 30 and he can't even imagine going an extra 20. Well, thank you, Janet, for everything.
We'll miss you.
Yes, and we're not all tired of you, and when you can volunteer as much as you want.
Are you staying in town, Janet?
Turn my mic on. I actually am not gonna make any decisions for about a year, but I am going to downsize and my nephews, they all live in the Branson area where my brother lives. They want to build me a tiny home to put on the property. And then I may buy a small house in Soso, Mississippi, where my grand dogs are.
Well, that'll be
Oh.
fun.
Wow.
So I'm gonna go to Mississippi in the winter time.
There you go.
No,
Yeah.
Now we have a vacation destination.
Yeah, we understand.
Well, again, congratulations and thank you so much for everything. I don't know what else to say. Words escape me other than thank you.
Yeah.
You've just been an absolute joy. Even when you're giving me trouble, you've done it in such a way that it was never taken anywhere but any way else except fun.
but at least I keep you straight, just like I do him.
And I don't know, I'm going to run amok and you see how it is with you. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like without you. Rose, if you,
Good luck.
you already got a taste of me tonight. If you haven't jumped out your window, you know, who's going to fact check me? There we go. All right. Well, thank you all. We'll see you next month. Commissioner Ernst.
I would hope that Janet would give Rose some very explicit lessons on all of us, including you.
I was going to say, let's not go too explicit.
Trust me, I got a cheat sheet for,
Oh, no. So I got to break into the office and find that cheat sheet. All right. Thank you all again. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Appreciate all of you.
Have a good night.
Good night.